shutout. In goal for Pittsburgh will be Roberto Romano. This is his 6th game this season. 3.97 average. 2 wins, 3 losses. Now with the opening lineups and drop the puck, Gene Hart.
Thank you, my good friend. Pelly, by the way, is 6-2-1 lifetime against the Pens, and Romano is 0-2-0. Just to note that Bobby Taylor and I have been paid and selected by the Philadelphia Flyers. Mario Lemieux was coming on now with Warren Young on the left side, Roger Belanger on the right defensively. They have Todd Charlesworth along with Mo Mantha, and the Flyers go Sutter along with Craven on the left, Dave Brown on the right with McCrimmon and Howe. The Flyers moving to our right. Howe gets the draw over the red line, a long drive to the right, bounces right out in front, over skate, going right in. Howe is there. Dave Brown tries to roll a backhander in on the net and just trickles it toward Romano, who grabbed one. It appeared that Mark Howe is going to get an opportunity opening right up the slot.
Well, I'll tell you, these boards, it appears they're not that really lively, Gene, but this time it was. It was an excellent shot chance for Philadelphia, and the puck bounced off Dave Brown's skate as Mantha tried to clear it and popped right up into the glove of Roberto Romano.
Size differential between Ron Sutter will take the draw against Lemieux. A few pounds and about a foot of height, it appeared. Brown into Ron Sutter, gets it back. Lemieux tries to check him off into the slot. Craven tried to turn to screen himself for the shot. It was taken away. Charlesworth for the Pens behind the moment out of the Pens right wing corner. Outlets through, and up ice comes Pittsburgh's Belanger. Past the stick check of Dave Brown. Long drive from center ice by Andy Brickley. A deep rebound in front. And it's cleared by Philadelphia's Mark Howe to center ice. If you just joined us, first half minute of the game, there is no score. Pens wrap it around behind Lindbergh, who sets it up for Howe. Tries to clear out. Warren Young picks it up, rolls behind the Philadelphia net. Centering pass by Lemieux. Quickly threw it out in front, controlled by Philadelphia and sent by Craven along his own left wing boards and not out as the Pens wrap it around behind the Flyer net. And McCrimmon will pick it up in his own right wing corner and lift it over the glass into the near seats, and the Flyers will be faced with a defensive right circle faceoff.
Well, the Flyers have been shifting lines over the last week or so, and even more so tonight. Lindsey Carson out with a sprained knee. Craven picking up the left wing side with Ronnie Sutter and Dave Brown. Other scratches for Philadelphia United: Eddie Hospodar, Ray Allison, and Bobby Froese. Pittsburgh's without Fox, Brian Maxwell, Ricky Kehoe, Bruce Crowder, and Randy Hillier.
Offensive left circle faceoff. John Shabbat out with Doug Shedden right. Trent Loney on the left. Puck in the Flyer circle. Shot right on. Rebound. Look out. Shot over the top of the net by Shabbat. Shedden back into the offensive right corner behind the net. Detroit Loney. Loney looks. Tries to put it in front. Lindbergh knocks it away. And the Flyers are able to poke it into center ice. Very, very close. As the retrieving in his own zone. Bodger up on the left side. Loney come out. And he's working against Philadelphia's Pullen along with Kerr and Puck. There's a play into the slot, and the Pens had Shabbat there, but the pass failed to click. Into the neutral zone, fed by Doug Bodger, one of the 3 Penn first-round draft picks. Rolls behind Lindbergh, loses control. Centering pass by Loney is blocked off, and it's Pullen getting it, but failing to get it out. The Pens try to throw it into the slot, knocked down, and the Flyers have a break. They've got Kerr up the middle. He's going in on net, winds up a drive, and a good skate save by goaltender Romano as he came out almost between his own face-off circles to take away angle. Then Kerr centers on the rebounding play out of the left wing corner. Pens take it away, and Shedden from Bodger rolls it down that far side deep into the Philadelphia zone. Out comes Bullard now as he's on with Gary Risling and former Flyer Mark Taylor. And Philadelphia out there now has Hackborn on as they roll it into the near corner along with Craven and Sinisalo defensively. Dvorak with Eriksson. That Dvorak-Eriksson unit had a +3 last night. There's a puck into the Philadelphia zone to the left of Lindbergh. Leaves it off for Dvorak. The Flyers give it away again. Centering pass out of that corner. Blocked off nicely by Hackborn. The Pens back to the point. Winding up a drive in on the net. Rebound, score! And it was Mike Bullard off the drive from the right point that never reached the net from Mo Mantha, but Lindbergh helpless on the rebound.
Bullard picks up goal number 16, and it was a shot that was deflected in front. It hit Hackborn's skate, directed right over to Bullard, who had that wide open net, and he promptly put it at top to give the Pittsburgh Penguins an early 1-0 lead, and it comes at 2:35 here in the opening period. Mike Bullard, 16th of the year. I believe Mantha will get at least 1 assist. Risling the second assist on that goal.
While the Flyers where on a series of occasions they're weak in their own end when they had control of the puck, and that burned them. Good check against Greg Hotham, just brought up from Baltimore in the absence of Randy Hillier, but the Pens take it. And Bullard, who's still out there with Taylor and Risling, comes to it, the Philadelphia line. Tries to turn McCrimmon into the left wing corner, overskates the puck. Philadelphia's in there, trying to roll it to the near side. What a check. Thrown by Hotham, who went in deep against Philadelphia's Peter Zezel. Risling made that one as well, and then the Pens shoot it all the way down. No icing as the Flyers make the play. Lemieux is out there with Young and Boulanger, and again, Baudry with Rod Busquets. Flyers through at the line. Dave Brown is knocked down, and the puck is controlled. Boom, but not controlled by Boulanger. Nice check in there by Derek Smith. The Zezel behind the net. He's checked off by Busquets. Flyers Dave Brown behind as Lemieux goes in to throw his weight around. Puck still up for grabs behind the Pittsburgh net. Coming out of that corner. Zezel back to McCrimmon. Shot right on. The save made in the corner off Romano. Flyers Zezel tries to get it in front. It rolls behind. Derek Smith fights off his man. Puts it out to the slot. Nobody there except Pittsburgh Penguins' Rod Busquets. And he drives it to center ice. The shots 3-2 for Philadelphia. The goals. Boy, there's a check. And right now, Boulanger is hurt. And we're going to have a Philadelphia penalty. And I think they've called that interference, and it'll come at 3:54. And the Pens will have a power play coming up. We'll check the injury on the ice and remind you 16:06 remain in the first period from Pittsburgh. Penguins 1 and the Flyers nothing.
You know Delaware Cash Reserve pays current high money market dividends credited daily. You know only $1,000 opens an account with no penalty liquidity. You know the difference between Delaware and a bank. No per check charges with Delaware Cash Reserve. No monthly fees to eat away at your earnings. Don't wait any longer. Call 800-523-4640 for a free prospectus now. Delaware Cash Reserve, the money market fund from the Delaware Group.
Peter Zezel picks up the first penalty of the game. Interference is his call as Boulanger had his head down and Peter Zezel corked him with a solid body check. But the problem was Boulanger never had the puck. Interference the call. 3:54 the time. Pittsburgh will be on the first power play of the game.
They are 27 for 141 on the air. That's worse than 1 in 5. Not so hot. Flyers have given up 28 and 131. That's more than 1 in 5. That's not so good, but Flyers have been almost perfect against Pittsburgh in the previous 3 games. They've allowed only 1 power play goal in 20 shorts. And in the game that the Flyers won in Philadelphia 3-1 a week ago Saturday, they held the Pens 0 for 10. Up on the left side, Mitch Lemereau comes through at the Flyer line, rolls it in, blocked, shuffled, and into the neutral zone. Mantha back, along with Lemereau, Shedden, Lemieux, and Bullard, who has the goal. Flyers in the near corner. Carlson is checked and knocked off the puck. Flyers battling, and Lemieux comes out with it, taken away, and sent by Derek Smith into his own player bench on the near side. Make that Murray Craven. And with 1:31 remaining on the penalty to Zezel. First call of the night by referee Dave Newell. Zezel with 8 minutes on the season.
Well, I'll tell you, Pittsburgh has come out, and they've come out hitting. As the Flyers got really decked in the corner there, Dougie Crossman, it was young Mitch Lamoureux, who's only 5'6", came in there and hit him very, very hard. Pittsburgh's landed a number of solid body checks in the opening minutes of this first period.
Lamoureux at center ice, Bullard on the right, Lemieux on the left, with Shedden at the left point, and Mantha on the right. Shedden gets it over to Mantha. There goes a drive on the net. Where'd it go? Lindbergh had it in the 5-hole and looked to his right. And then we had a little high stick there between Lamoureux and Philadelphia's Thomas Eriksson.
When it happened, the puck got caught up in Kelly Lindbergh's equipment. Lamoureux climbed in there and was slapping at it. Any time that something happens with your goaltender, your players will get over there very, very quickly. And exactly is what happened. Good shot by Mantha. Kelly Lindbergh wasn't sure where the puck went, but he had caught up there, and Lamoureux slashing away, and Thomas Eriksson took him out, gave him an extra shot, and they had words.
Eriksson and Marsh. And for Philadelphia, they have Craven out, along with Ron Sutter. There's a clearing to the far side. Sutter is able to drive it up ice. He's hooked from behind and almost pulled down by Shedden. That allows Lamoureux to retrieve along his own right wing side, curl around behind the net, drop it off for Mantha. Will start up at center ice with 1:10 remaining on the Penguin power play. Working left side, Lemieux goes in, but he tried to go right into traffic, and there was an offside as going up the middle was Lamoureux offside.
Marsh made a nice play, Gene. He moved right up at the blue line, stood up there very well as the Flyers had both Ronnie Sutter and Murray Craven coming back there. When you have your wings coming back strongly as they have been the first part of the game, that defenseman can make that play at the blue line. Makes it very difficult for a team to move that puck or carry it in when you have 4 men straight across that line.
Lamoureux 2 years ago, what, 57 goals for the Skipjacks?
Yeah, he was a Rookie of the Year in the American League.
Pens dump in. Mark Howe is there, challenged by Lamoureux, but is able to carry him it off his own left wing boards to center ice. Lemieux back with Shedden, and Mantha overskates at center ice. The Flyers try to go through as they have Prop out with Poulin and McCrimmon with Howe. 40 seconds on the Penn advantage. Bullard up on the right wing at center ice, chased by Poulin, penetrates, has the puck, and then loses it to Prop. Prop fails to get out. Here comes Lemieux along the near side, is tripped up, and the Flyers break up on the left wing at center ice. At the line goes McCrimmon into the left wing corner, overskates the puck, and following it up is Prop as the Flyer defenseman drops back. Shedden is hit by Prop. Puck ricochets to the Penguin defensive right wing corner, where it's outletted up at center ice, and Lemieux will take it, coming inside the zone, trying to find a play, works to the right, but again we have an offside, as this time Risling was taken off the play by Philadelphia's Brad McCrimmon, and Risling makes the challenge.
I think it was the other way around, Gene. Risling was the one that knocked down Brad McCrimmon as McCrimmon was coming across. Shedden cross-checking Brian Prop. Brian Prop trying to draw the penalty as he fell down. He wasn't really knocked down, but he was still trying to draw that penalty with Dave Newell along the right wing boards. But Flyers have 12 seconds to kill on this power play advantage. 14:18 left in this first period. Pittsburgh up 1-0.
The only shot they've had while on the power play was early on, Mantha from the right point. Philadelphia Craven along with Erickson, Prop, and Marsh make that Sinicello now. Warren Young drives it in, and the Flyers' Marsh just slaps it all the way down, and that should do it, as Zezel's penalty has 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and he comes out of the box as the Penn Shabbat brings it up at center ice. At the Flyer line, working right wing to Hotham, tips it into the zone, Risling after it, but the Flyers clear to Marsh, and Marsh, though he's checked at center ice, rolls it into the neutral zone, and the Pens come back to Risling. Boom. He's hit by Craven and Marsh. Rolls it, gives it away to Shabbat behind the net, and then got it back, winds it around to the near side. Thomas Erickson is run out by Risling, and there you can see the effect of Risling as in front. Shabbat, shot, save. Rebound by Shabbat into the slot, and breaking out on the near wing. Philadelphia's Craven is tripped up, and that should be a penalty. Peter Zezel, and there was no question about that at 6:28. Flyers thwart a Penguin drive, now have a power play coming up. Early first period, they trail it. Living legends in sports are a rare breed, and the opportunity to honor one often becomes a once-in-a-lifetime event. So it was with Bobby Clark on his night at the Spectrum. We'd like you to share in this tribute with a copy of this specially commissioned poster saluting Clark's memorable career. For just $3.99, you will have a cherished keepsake of this once-in-a-lifetime event, Bobby Clark. Available now at participating Texaco dealers and all 24 Atomic Discount Tire Centers.
Flyers almost had an excellent 2-on-1 situation as Zezel was breaking away with a loose puck. Bodger tripped up the Flyer player, and down he went. The eventual touch-up by the Pittsburgh Penguins. The penalty was handed out, but it was Gary Risling who got the penalty for interference at 6:28. Flyers now have their power play in operation.
They're 2 for 12 on the year against Pittsburgh overall, 29 for 137. Not a bad statistic, but unfortunately, the Flyers' power plays have come in gulps in games. They've had 3 4 times and 4 once, but they have not been consistent, and particularly on the road. Zezel, along with Kerr on the left, Sinicello on the right, McCrimmon and Howe, and it is Lamoureux out, along with Kevin McCarthy, and they have Charlesworth back with Mantha. Up ice comes Howe over the line. Hawks and Hines stop the puck into the offensive left wing corner to Zezel. Zezel drops off for Kerr. Reading the play nicely was Mantha to recover, pick it off, and send it all the way down. Risling with 13 minutes on the air, and the penalty's even at 1. Kevin McCarthy, former Flyer defenseman with Vancouver, and their captain, now playing the forward line at times and killing penalties. Flyers play broken up, and there's a play into the offensive right corner by Lamoureux. He's checked off by Howe, and that allows Philadelphia's Zezel will storm around behind the net, curl out to the right, and start up at center ice. Right winging it to McCrimmon, who can. It goes back to Zezel, and the Pens break it up, and it flips off the stick into the Pittsburgh player bench on the near side. So we played 46 seconds into the penalty, and the Flyers yet to get set up.
Well, you know, you take a look at statistics, and sometimes that doesn't give you the complete picture, but it can give you an indication. And the Flyers are approximately 12% on the road when they've had the man advantage, which is last in the league.
6 for 50. That's 1 for 8. Not good enough. Back to the point to Crosman. Little indecision. Erickson to side of the net, drives it in on the goaltender. Poulin was right there to tap wide. He gets it behind the net. Poulin swings to the near side. Has the puck bounce. He falls down. Can't control it. Pittsburgh digs it out. And here comes Trent Loney to center ice along with Chabot. Loney at the Flyer line. Drills it in wide of Lindbergh. Gets it back again and shoots again. Comes out in front. Very active boards tonight. And the Flyers pick it off and will start back the other way. Down that left wing side, stolen away by Chabot. And the Flyers have not had a whole lot going for them in this game so far as we hit the 8-minute mark played. 1-0 Pittsburgh, the goal by Bullard at 2:35. Flyers on their first power play. It has been anything but. 26 seconds left. Erickson penetrates and bumped off. Roger ties up his man. Puck behind the net. Cleared to Kerr on the near side. He battles for it along with the Bodger. The Flyers get it back to the point. Erickson looks. Goes left side. Drive on the net. They try to get it into Kerr from Crosman, but it was blocked back to Doug Crosman. He's at the blue line to Erickson with a shot. That hit the pile of bodies in front. Ricochets to the right corner. Penalty has 1 second to serve. Erickson is shot. Tipped in by Kerr. Another shot by Kerr. Romano keeps it away. And the Pens shoot it out of the rink and into the near side. And there's a break for Risling. Shot saved by Lindbergh as Risling got between Crosman and Erickson for the good drive on net. 11:20 remaining in the first period. The penalty box is empty and Pittsburgh leads 1-0.
Presenting one of the most popular couples in America.
Presenting one of the most popular couples in America.
Cutlass Sierra.
And Cutlass Supreme from Oldsmobile.
These two models make Cutlass America's #1 nameplate.
Great styling, outstanding performance, the Cutlass Supreme.
And the front-wheel drive Cutlass Sierra.
Check out a couple of great deals on a couple of very popular cars.
Cutlass Sierra.
And Cutlass Supreme. See your Olds connection today for any Cutlass.
And check out a couple of great guys.
Well, the Flyers had some pretty good activity in front of Roberto Romano in that last few seconds of the power play. Timmy Kerr especially had a deflection, but Romano was able to sprawl, make the save, and keep the Penguins up by 1-0.
Young, Belanger, and Lemieux out, along with Hotham and Charlesworth. The Flyers will go with Craven, Ron Sutter, and Brown with McCrimmon and Howe. Now Derek Smith is in there. He'll have to take the draw as Ron Sutter is dumped out. Pens get it back to Charlesworth at the point. Fires it off the far board. Ricochets to Howe, and up through to Ron Sutter coming with Brown at center ice and Derek Smith. Long chip shot into the Penguin zone. Derek Smith behind the net. Got in there first. Tied up in the corner. Looks to center. Gets inside Hotham. Still behind the net. Bumped and knocked down by Lemieux. As the Pens' key difference in the game is their body play. They've been checking the Flyers ferociously, and they come out 3-on-2. Lemieux with Young on his right, Belanger on his left. Long drive, and Lindbergh to save, and that was not a high percentage shot, Bobby, to take when you're out deep on the right on a 3-on-2. Puck in the neutral zone, and it's cleared back along the near side to McCrimmon from Ron Sutter, and then off the skate of Young to center ice, where Dave Brown will carry into the zone. Long shot from the right, wide of the goaltender Romano, picked up by Belanger along his right wing, flips it in the air, bounces to center ice, and it's touched by Young on the bounce, and that's an offside two-line pass.
One thing you can really have to be prepared for, Pittsburgh will play a very strong physical game, and Flyers are going to have to answer that bell. This is probably the first period where they have not been out to a very quick start for quite a while. Dougie Crossman has been out there with Brad Marsh now. He's been playing a lot with Eddie Hospodar. Now, he went down with an injury. Then when Hospodar wasn't dressed, he played with Dvorak. But since Hospodar's injury, he's been out with Brad Marsh.
Zezel, Craven, and on the near side, Sinisalo. Flyers get up the middle of the ice with Crosman and Marsh. Penguins counter with Bodger and Buskis. And up front, They have Pollard along with Risling and Mark Taylor. Puck behind the Pittsburgh net, cleared out in front and grabbed by the goaltender Romano. Stoppage of play, 10:08 remaining first period. 1-0 Pittsburgh. Penalties even at 1. We're out shooting, the Flyers out shooting Pittsburgh 8-7.
Romano had an excellent game the last time these two teams met. It was in Philadelphia, where he was peppered with a number of shots and pulled an awful lot of great saves. And he's played last time against New Jersey here at home, and he's getting a lot of starts in the row in a series here. That I think Bob Berry wants to make sure that this kid can come in and play for him. He's been playing very well.
Well, Zazzle and Bullard are thrown out of the circle. It'll be Mark Taylor against Philadelphia's Murray Craven. Offensive right side, Philadelphia. Linesman Wayne Bonney, one of the few officials in the league beginning to wear helmets during game action. Long delay in the faceoff. Puck is dropped. Bodger curls around behind his own net. Works out on the right side, chased by Zazzle, gets through at center right, leading the charge into the zone and is blocked off by Marsh. The Flyers quickly in transition. Zazzle is pulled down, and that's going to be a penalty against Mark Taylor. And the Flyers come up with their second power play of the period. 9:56 remaining first period. 1-0 Pittsburgh.
Come on, boys. Come on.
Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Peter Zazzle was in a turn. Mark Taylor really didn't hook him that hard, but when you're making that quick turn, your balance is a little bit off. You don't take much to tug you down. Taylor did. He'll pick up the hook and call it 10:04.
Pittsburgh with 2 of the game's 3 penalties. Taylor with 10 minutes on the air. Flyers on the second power play. 0 for 1 tonight and 2 for 13 on the Pens against the Pittsburgh team for the season. Both Pittsburgh penalties have been for infraction against Peter Zazzle. Now a nice tap through by Sinisalo to Erickson over the line along the right side. A wraparound behind the net. Picked off there by Philadelphia. Given to Howe. Lost by Sinisalo. Pens take it off on the near side and drill it into the neutral zone. Charlesworth is out along with Mantha and Troy Loney with John Shabbat. Now over the line. Sinisalo into the right circle. Kerr there. Shot over the top of the net when he appeared to have Romano set up. Back to the point, cleared into the near side by Erickson, right onto the stick of Charlesworth, and he sends it down the ice. 9:14 left in the period, 1:15 on the penalty to Pittsburgh's Mark Taylor. Flyers on the power play trailing 1-0. Outlet to Erickson on the right side, coming with Craven, Poulin, and Kerr. Now joined by Crosman. The puck is rolled behind the net, picked up there by Craven. He's in outlet at the left point. Gives it to Crosman, looks, comes near side to Erickson. At the top of the right circle, straight away to Crosman, drive. That hit the body of Mitch Lamoureux, who's out there now with Kevin McCarthy and Mantha with Charlesworth. Back to Crosman, in along the left side, Craven straight away to Erickson, looks, drive, that's blocked off by Kevin McCarthy. As the Flyers can't get to the net. Behind it goes, Poulin can't handle it, rolls to Craven, back to Crosman at the point, straight away to Erickson, there's a drive, and Morano, as he was going down, got that with the elbow on the right shoulder, and it caroms out of the ring. As we pause the station identification on the Flyers Hockey Network.
This is WTAF, TV 29 in Philadelphia.
Roberto Romano has a very unorthodox style, Gene. He'll flop around out there, and he just got the blade of his stick on that shot, and just after that, Kerr was decked by Charlesworth in front of the net. But they have their hands full trying to keep Timmy Kerr at bay there, but Romano making a fantastic save with the way he tried to make the save.
Back to the point. McCrimmon has Al open right in at the left circle. Drive! And blocked off the body. Never reached the net. As the Pens take it on the near side. Shabbat can't get out with it, but then Troy Loney sends it all the way down. 20 seconds remaining on the Pittsburgh penalty. Shabbat up front with Loney and defensively Buskus with Bodger. And here comes Philadelphia's Poulin, right wing into Howe. Will penetrate the zone, up the middle, goes back to the point, and then Troy Loney poke checks it off his stick back to the neutral zone. We have 8 minutes remaining in the period, and as the Flyers play back to their own zone, Mark Taylor comes out of the penalty box, and here comes a play right up the middle. Pop! No, he couldn't get the shot. As an opportunity tapped right through by Davey Poulin. He was in alone, and as he tried to make the move on the net, never controlled the puck and never got a shot. Now up the middle. Has Klopp again at the Pittsburgh blue line. Can't control him. Belanger back. Over the line against Howe. Cuts up the middle. Offside as Warren Young got in far too soon. 7:35 remaining first period in Pittsburgh. And the Pens lead the game 1-0.
Now Seiko gives you the moon in all its phases on the world's first analog quartz chronograph, and Taylor's gray with dashes of gold tone in a man's modern classic. To an elegant dress circle, Seiko adds a date window and creates a bold alarm chronograph to sport everywhere. At Seiko, great technology inspires great design. Seiko watches and clocks at your authorized dealer.
Available at John Wanamaker's.
1-0 to score. Pittsburgh in the lead. 7:35 remains in this opening period.
Just outside the Flyer line along their left wing. Derek Smith out along with Ron Sutter and Britt Tocchet. They give it away at the point. That led to a goal. Dumped toward the net, and Marsh along his left side now rolls it just barely out to Ron Sutter down that left side coming with Tocchet and Smith. Tocchet there, shot over the top of the net as he tried to go to the left glove high side of Romano. Now back comes Belanger over the line on the right side. Puck goes through Marsh, but Belanger does, and as Crosman tries to clear out to the point, kept in by Pittsburgh, rolled to the net, cut off in front by Crosman. Outlets left wing looking for Derek Smith off the stick deep into Pittsburgh zone. Mantha recovers in his own right wing corner, throws it away at center. Crosman to Marsh, but Marsh has it taken away and sent through by Lemieux to Belanger. Over the line, tapped away nicely. Warren Young tries to follow, but Marsh is there to cover. Scoots to the left side of his net, now starts up on the left side, looks past Lemieux and drives it into center ice off the skate of Derek Smith as the Pens try to penetrate, but Lemieux a little cutesy pass on the near side for Young, picked off by Ron Sutter. Tries to lift it in deep, blocked off there, and Young will turn, and Sutter has to stay on as Young goes right by him, goes by Marsh, and cutting across, though, is Thomas Eriksson to drive at the center, and then it's poked back in offside by the Penguins. 6:22 remaining first period. It is Pittsburgh 1, the Flyers nothing.
Now, Davy Brown has been getting more and more ice time as this season progresses. Had excellent training camp and then didn't play that often in the first 20 games or so, but the Flyers have suffered a couple of injuries on the wing, and Brown is starting to get more and more ice time, and as he's answering the call as well, he's playing extremely well out there for Philadelphia.
Craven and Brown, the centerman for Lenny Hackborn, but Buskus at center ice takes the puck away, drives it in alongside Lindbergh. Bullard chasing Eriksson to the near side. Brown taps it back to Bodger at the point, and the Pittsburgh rookie sends it back in his offensive right corner. Philadelphia's there. Dvorak quickly as the Flyers outlet to Brown, and up on the left side, there goes Hackborn with a long drive, and Romano, little off balance, made the scoop with that with the left glove as it was ticketed long side about knee high.
Well, I'll tell you, he's very, very quick, that young goaltender. He'll flop around out there. He'll make very unorthodox moves to make the save, but he was well on the angle, and he very quickly made that easy glove save. We mentioned time and time again, when that shot's from the knees to your waist, it's easy picking for a goaltender.
Pittsburgh with Bullard, Risling, and Taylor out. Bodger and Buskus, and the Flyers with Brown right side, the Craven left side centered by Hackborn with Dvorak and Eriksson. Offensive left circle face-off Philadelphia. 5:57 remaining first period. 10-7 the shots Flyers. Penalties, Pens have had 2 of the 3. But the Pens have the only stat that counts, the 1 goal. Now Bullard is thrown out, and Mark Taylor will take the draw against Murray Craven as Hackborn was also ousted by linesman Wayne Bonney. Offensive left circle, and Bonney again doing some surveying work before he throws the puck, and it goes back to Dvorak. Winds it down, offensive left corner to Hackborn. Fights away from Taylor's check. Cuts across to the near side to Eriksson on the backhander. Has to roll in the near side. Is grabbed by Bullard. Rolls it to Hackborn, offensive left corner. He's grabbed, turned around by Mark Taylor as the Flyers battling, and it's kicked out to Bullard on the near side. Tries to fight his way past Eriksson. Cannot, as Eriksson along the near side with Dave Brown does a nice job, and then Brown is buried on a elbow block from behind by Risling. Puck at center ice. Cleared into the Pittsburgh zone by Murray Craven as Eriksson goes off, and now Dvorak is playing with Brad McCrimmon. The Penguins on the near side have Bullard go down deep around into his own corner to get organized as Taylor is out there now, and he's up at center ice, rolls it deep in the Flyer zone. Pittsburgh now brings out Charlesworth and Mantha on defense, and they have Loney along with Chetin as the Flyers go in trying to find Sinisella. Almost got it. Back comes Shabbat. Over the line with Loney on his right. Feeds to Loney around behind the Philadelphia net. Looks to center, tied up by Markow. McCrimmon goes in to break it free, does. Puts it out to the far point. The Pens keep it in, but right onto the stick of Philadelphia's McCrimmon and away. On the right wing at center ice comes the Flyers' Sinicello. He dumps in, stays out there as he's joined now by Derek Smith and Zezel. McCrimmon stays out with Howe. Mantha tries to come out with it. Blocked off. The Flyers, Sinicello up the middle. Drives. Nice save by Romano off the left circle screen from Peter Zezel. Now Zezel goes down in that far corner. Charlesworth wants to tie it up. He's buried on a good check by Philadelphia on that side. That was Sinicello. As the Flyers lose the puck, and out comes Mantha with Chabot on his right, Loney on his left, 3 Flyers back. They roll it up the middle into the zone. Onside, shot by Chabot. And Lindbergh steered it to the near corner. The Flyers go back the other way. Shedd's going to put pressure on Howe. Bumps him, but the Flyers get it up and through to center to Zezel. 2-on-2. Wants to turn Busquets down that left side pivot. Puts it in to Kerr. Kerr around behind the net in front. And puck it bounces, and down goes Kerr. Down goes Romano. Sits on the puck for the stoppage of play with 3:57 remaining first period from the Civic Arena in Pittsburgh, and the Pens on top 1-0.
Ho, 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 Santa Hart here at Spectrum Showcase Store with a great gift for the Flyer fans on your list. The Flyers Santa Stocking loaded with 12 fabulous Flyers items like a bumper sticker, puck, pens, mini pennant, mini hockey stick chrome logo, and 2 tickets to a Flyers game. Separately, these items would cost you $35, now specially priced at $25. At any of the 5 Spectrum Showcase stores in a mall near you, if you're good, maybe Santa will bring you one too.
Flyers will have an offensive left circle face-off. Kerr out, along with Poulin and Prop, Crosman and Marsh. Out there against Lemieux, Boulanger and Young. Defensively, Bodger and Busquets. Back to Prop. Shot on another split. Left glove up in the air, save by goaltender Boulanger. But you have to be careful. A lot of those pucks are caught knee-high where that glove is positioned, and the momentum forces that glove up, and it appears as if the shot were caught high. But he made a dandy that time as the Flyers won the draw. And immediately Lemieux comes off and Bullard comes on to take that defensive face-off against Timmy Kerr. Let's see if it works. It does. The Pens control. Rookie Bodger behind the net, challenged by Poulin. Outlets Warren Young on the left side. And Young through. On the near side, here comes Bullard up the middle. Tries to throw it through to the breaking Boulanger, and the Flyers keep it, throw it to center ice. But there is Bodger flipping it high in the air to the right of Lindbergh. Picked up behind the Philadelphia net by Marsh. Off the far boards, tapped by Prop. Into the neutral zone, past Rod Busquets. Lemieux retrieves along his own right board, starts up into the neutral zone, looks at the center ice circle, left wing to Bodger. He can't handle it. The Flyers try to tap it out, controlled by Crosman in his own right wing corner behind the goal line. Wrap around the far side to Prop, picked off by Boulanger. Shot to the net. Lindbergh steers it to the near side, and Kerr is there to drive it into center ice with 3:10 remaining first period. Penn scored at 3:22, or make that 2:35 as the Flyers back. Kerr up the middle. Look out. Shot. And that was blocked off by Bodger. Kerr got the rebound in the left circle. Tried to backhand a pass to Prop. He gets it, but no shooting room. And so Marsh, as he gets it at the point, rolls it around to the near side as Marsh was dumped on a check by Boulanger. And here comes Lemieux at center ice. Stick handles past Prop. Carries it through to Warren Young. Over the line and not over the line. Lemieux pokes it in. It's taken away by Prop. He's bumped from behind. We'll have to go back to Marsh in his own zone for Flyer control. Up the middle to Ron Sutter. He stopped. Lemieux at center ice picks it off and will turn into the zone and goes in against Richie Sutter, but the Flyers pick it off there as Rich making his first appearance on the ice. Up to Brother Ron along with Tocchet on the near side. Tocchet over the line. Tries to put it up the middle. It's blocked. Tocchet wants to control again, but as he taps it cross ice for Rich Sutter coming into the zone, hits a Pittsburgh skate and comes to center ice. Thomas Eriksson of the Flyers there. Winds it behind the Pittsburgh net. Tocchet in front, but it went off the skate of Mantha into the far corner. Rich Sutter behind the net to Ron Sutter. Ron has Eriksson at the point. Soft pass. And all he can do is tap it past Gary Rising, and then the Pens take it, and Charlesworth sends it all the way down. Eriksson a foot race and just gets there before Mike Bullard for the icing with 1:58 remaining in the first period. 1-0 Pittsburgh. The Flyers, my friends, have 6 game plans. $51 for each plan. If you'd like to combine them, you save a few bucks. You get both for $99. The seats are in the upper level. If you go both, you get 12 games for $99. And in January, February, March, you'll see the Rangers, Chicago, Montreal, Quebec, Los Angeles, Vancouver, and the Islanders, and they're most of the best. And it guarantees you a seat in the playoffs. And hey, it's late, but remember, Flyer tickets make great Christmas gifts. The office is open tomorrow. Use it. Get there. See Flyers hockey. It's an exciting team. Don't wait. Offensive right circle draw. Chabot against Lenny Hackborn is out with Brown and Derek Smith. Erickson with Dvorak. Shabbat is on, along with Shedden on the right, Troy Loney on the left. And defensively, they have Charlesworth along with Buskis. 1:58 remaining first period. The only goal, Bullard, is 16th from Mantha and Risling at 2:35. 2 of the game's 3 penalties to Pittsburgh. Flyers out shooting the Pens 13-9. There goes Hackborn putting it into the slot. Nice move by Buskis, and Hotham keep Derek Smith away as the Pens shoot it all the way in. Racing after it is Erickson, set up at the right side of the net by Ed Lindbergh, and out through. Derek Smith pumps it to center ice. Pens have to wait. It's cleared at center ice. Here comes Philadelphia almost into the zone. There's Dave Brown up the middle to the near side Hackborn, but all of it was offside, and then we had a hand pass against Dave Brown. We have 1:37 remaining first period from Pittsburgh. The Pens 1 and the Flyers nothing.
Catch the Stars on Star Search 85 with host Ed McMahon, Dick Clark, and Lee Greenwood. It's Star Search 85.
Saturday at 5 on TV 29, Philadelphia.
Well, we said the last time these two teams met last year, the Flyers scored 13 goals. To date, in 3 games plus this period, that's 10 periods of play. The Flyers have only totaled 8. They've won 4-2 and 3-1 in Philadelphia and lost 3-1 here. And right now they're trailing 1-0. Hackborn making a good play as Shabbat in his own right wing corner has to play off to Hotham, and Hotham lifts through past Marsh deep in the Philadelphia zone. Rolls just to the right of Lindbergh, set up there for Doug Crosman. Hackborn, Brown, and Derek Smith. They go left wing. Smith is going to try to beat Hotham to it. Cannot. Pens have control of it at center ice. Clear back in their own zone. Shedden turning to his right along the right boards. Now comes to center. Up the middle to shot at the Flyer line against Crosman. Pivots. Goes to the blue line. Drops a pass off for Shedden. And the Flyers pick it off. As Shedden crisscrossed and bumped into Shabbat and ruined that whole play. Marsh up the middle. Backhands it about head high on net, and Romano grabs for the stoppage of play with 57 seconds remaining first period. Bobby Taylor has moved his way downstairs. Don't forget, we have great intermission features. We've got a couple of doozies for you tonight. Trivia questions. There's some good ones. We're going to have a little Christmas thing for you from the Flyers. And, oh, we got so much. So hang with us. And, of course, the great hockey. Philadelphia. Sinisalo, along with Craven and Zezel. Puck toward the net, knocked up in the air, grabbed there by Warren Young. As he's out there with Belanger and Lemieux, they lift it high in the air into center ice. Flyers grab it there. As Lemieux was off while Bullard took the defensive face-off. Flyers drive it in, but offside as Murray Craven had failed to clear the zone. 40 seconds remaining first period. 1-0 Philadelphia trailing. I don't know if we mentioned to you the games elsewhere in the National Hockey League tonight. The Islanders are in Hartford. Chicago hosts Toronto, and Vancouver is at Edmonton. We'll have scores for that, of course. Steve Coates, between periods and after the game, so don't go away. Philadelphia out there with Zezel on one side, Tocchet on the other. Ron Sutter at center ice. Crosman back with Marsh. Puck in the Pittsburgh zone, slapped out along the near side. Through past Warren Young, and grabbed by Crosman at the Flyer line. Up ice to Zezel, blocks off from Warren Young, through to Tocchet, but then taken away by Bodger. Good check by Marsh on the far side on Belanger as the Flyers drive it in. And all chase with 15 seconds left. It's given away, far corner to Rich Sutter. Winds it around to the near side. Look out, there goes Crosman trying to keep it in control. Rolls right at the blue line. Flyers battling, and the overskate, and Pittsburgh with 4 seconds left in the period to center ice. They lift it high in on Lindbergh to the left side of the net. He grabs as the blue lights at either end of the rink and the horn go off to end the first period of play. 14-9 the shots Philadelphia. 2 out of the 3 penalties to Pittsburgh. The only goal at 2:35. Bullard is 16th from Mantha and Risling. So there it is at the end of one period from Pittsburgh. The Pens won and the Flyers nothing. And we'll go right back now to Philadelphia for our intermission highlights and Steve Coates.
Coming up, we'll have Bobby Taylor in discussion with Flyer left winger Derek Smith. Then we'll have trivia with Gene Hart, and I'll be back with a wrap of that first period. That's all coming up right after this.
They felt that, in Montreal, of course, and we've made comment about this throughout the years, Gene, at Montreal, they always did everything at top speed. The Flyers do that now under their 3 coaches. They do everything at top speed, where they come here and they sort of nonchalant their practices. They go through the motions, and Teddy Harris always says you practice the way you play, or you play the way you practice, and that's what he's trying to change here. You know, if you're still wondering what to get that youngster for Christmas, why not a Flyers digital wristwatch? These Silvertone watches usually sell for $10, but you can pick one up tomorrow for only $5 at the Spectrum Showcase store. And that's including the one at the Roosevelt Mall in Northeast Philadelphia. They make excellent stocking stuffers as well.
Interesting situation here where the coaches have to come from the far side of the ice and walk across the freshly resurfaced ice to the respective benches. I always consider that a little dangerous.
Well,
Mike Keenan?
Yeah. They, of course, gingerly, you know, ice is so solid under your skates. But you get out there in the shoes and you're not very well.
The referee, Dave Mule. Hard to believe this is Dave's 18th year in the league. He's second in seniority to Ron Wicks out of Sudbury, Ontario, and he's just 39. Boy, it just seemed like yesterday when he would have been the one hung by his thumbs by anybody in Philadelphia.
You know, he really struggled his early years. He was very hyper, and he had to learn how to relax in a game, not to get really all bent out of shape. And he's worked very hard at it, and he's a very competent official.
Well, I tell you, a few years ago, right in the midst of his trouble with Philadelphia, Frank Udvari said to me, Gene, if they give him a chance, he's going to be a good official, and Frank was right. Puck in the Pittsburgh zone as play is underway. Philadelphia with Rich and Ron Sutter and Tuckett, and it's Lemieux out there, along with Ballengé and Warren Young. The puck sliding into the Philadelphia zone. Ron Sutter scoots around behind, is chased by Ballengé, rolls it up to Crosman, and rink wide. Rich Sutter at center ice can't handle it. Ricochets into the Pittsburgh zone. Hotham on the defense with Charlesworth, as the teams are playing giveaway right now, turning it over one to the other and then return. Puck is down behind the Pittsburgh net. Charlesworth ties up Ron Sutter. Puck kicks into the far corner of the Pittsburgh zone. Lemieux, a nice move inside Tuckett, and will start away at center ice. Comes with Young on his left and Ballengé on his right, trying to set the defense. He's pulled down. Puck at the backside of the net. The Pittsburgh Penguins pick it off. Warren Young pivots away from Marsh. Now he's picked up by Ron Sutter. Gets it behind the net. Look out, Lemieux wants the center. Pivots away from Crosman. Comes out in front. Works that skill beautifully, and then finally tries to rag too long, and it's poked off the stick, and then the Flyers ice it. After it is Pittsburgh's defenseman on the deep carom in his own right corner, Greg Hotham, and we have an icing Philadelphia with 1:06 gone and a scoreless second period. 1-0 Pittsburgh.
You know, it's getting to the point where everybody here, every time somebody comes near Big Mario Lemieux, that they're wanting a penalty call. That time when he was going through the middle, he tried to help things out by going to the ice with a little bit of flourish.
Played with Labauzin. Delaval. Only had 281 points last year.
Yeah.
All right, the interesting trivia question. You remember, there's a play at the side of the net. Flyers trying to come out. It kicks to the point, kept in by Pittsburgh, but lifted out of the rink by defenseman Bodger. You recall the all-time junior record for scoring in a season that Lemieux broke last year. Whose record he broke?
Pierre LaRouche.
Pierre LaRouche.
I think one thing you talk about teams and when they improve, and Pittsburgh's vastly improved over the last 5 or 6 games, and they do it by paying more attention to the defensive end of the ice. They cut their goals against down.
That's the secret. You know, Mark Taylor out of the University of North Dakota.
You know, he had not played much throughout the first part of the season. And when he did dress, he didn't get much ice time. But they've had a number of injuries on the forward line, Keith Crowder and Ricky Keogh, and Mark Taylor getting more and more ice time. And, you know, he's such a good hockey player, and he's so versatile. He can play either wing position and center.
I'm surprised he's not killing penalties here. There's a giveaway at center ice by Philadelphia. Taylor out there, along with Risling and Bullard. As the newspaper mentioned, Dave, the only line kept intact. There's a giveaway in front. Risling scores from the slot. Oh, bad giveaway, Philadelphia.
What had happened is the puck had bounced off the boards crazily. They wound the puck around behind the net, and it just took a crazy hop past Derek Smith and right to Gary Risling. And it comes at 1:32. So that's Risling's first goal of the year, as it was a crazily bouncing puck. But when you get on that board, you got to try and trap it. Derek Smith didn't. and his quick shot beat Pelle Lindbergh low to the stick side of the Penguins score early in this second period to give themselves a 2-0 lead.
Came up to the National Hockey League the first time in '78 with Washington, and that's just his 14th NHL goal. Unassisted, it comes at 1:32, so the Pens score their goals early in each of the first two periods, and Flyers are back by a pair as Dvorak off the far side slips it to center ice. Back there, Charlesworth along with Manthan. Up front, they have Shabbat with Shedden and Troy Loney, and the Flyers with Eriksson and Dvorak in their front line as Prop, Kerr, and Poulin. Puck behind the Pittsburgh net. Charlesworth on the near side. Pivoting away from the forechecking of Timmy Kerr. Charlesworth around to the left side of his net. Outlets through, and it's lifted by Warren Young to center ice as he's out on that wing, and we get an offside called with 17:46 remaining in the second period for Pittsburgh. 2-0 Penguins.
Give me a light. A Bud Light.
If you just ask for a light beer, you never know what you'll get.
And I'll have a light. A Bud Light.
So if you want the less filling light beer with the first name and taste, don't just ask for a light beer.
Give me a light.
Ask them to bring out their best.
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Because everything else is just a light.
Pittsburgh up 2-0 here early second period. The goals by Mike Bullard and Gary Risling unassisted early in each of the first two periods. Flyers have Rich and Ron Sutter out along with Rick Tocchet. Offensively, Crosman and Marsh. And the Pens shoot it all the way down, and we had Rich Sutter in a little set two there with Roger Belanger, who's out with Young, and Mario Lemieux. Defensively, Buskis. There's a check against Brad Marsh on the near side by Belanger, and he looks hurt.
He took much the worst of it as he really took a run at Brad Marsh, but he ended up bouncing off and falling to the ice, and he's on his knees. Now, he was decked at the first period by Peter Zezel, and he got hurt. This time he took a run at Brad Marsh and ended up the worst of that confrontation. So as we take a look at what and wait to see what Roger Belanger, if he's going to be seriously injured or not, we'll take this time out.
Ho, ho, ho! Santa Hart here at Spectrum Showcase Store with a great gift for the Flyer fans on your list. The Flyers Santa stocking loaded with 12 fabulous Flyers items like a bumper sticker, puck, pens, mini pennant, mini hockey stick chrome logo, and 2 tickets to a Flyers game. Separately, these items would cost you $35, now specially priced at $25. At any of the 5 Spectrum Showcase stores in a mall near you, if you're good, maybe Santa will bring you one too.
Bob Belanger's up. He's made his way to the bench, and play will resume. Seems to be fine.
Wayne Babbitt, who has seen no ice time tonight, will take his place on the right wing on this line with Lemieux, comes up ice, and Warren Young, who's into the zone. Shot deflected by Crosman to the far side. Flyers pick off the pass, an outlet on the near wing. Here comes Rich Sutter down that left wing. Up the middle, Tocchet, over the line, Rich. Goes a bad pass, far side, looking for brother Ron. And the Pens try to get it to Lemieux. He can't handle it, but up ice, it's played through by Bodger to Lemieux. Back trying to find Bodger. Pens break it up, and then inside, there's a drive wide of the net. Tried by Warren Young on a series of misadventures. That wound up with a decent shot for Pittsburgh in the Flyers' zone. Puck tied up on the carom along the near side.
Well, Richie Sutter has not seen much action tonight as either. In the lineup, Lindsey Carson out with that sprained knee, rather. And he's been put back on the line with brother Ronnie, along with Rick Tocchet. But Richie's been moved to the left wing this time. Rick Sutter, usually a right winger, with Tocchet playing that right side, and Carson, the left winger, out. Richie Sutter's been put in his place.
Bullard with Risling, a goal scorer on the left, Taylor on the right with Hotham and Charlesworth. Defensive left circle face-off Philadelphia. Flyers defense has Eriksson out with Dvorak. And the line has Zezel with Craven. There's a play in front, kicked away as Mark Taylor was allowed to penetrate right in on Lindbergh, never got a shot. Now Bullard in front. They scramble. Bullard falls on Lindbergh. Now gets up as the Flyers are able to clear it out of the rink, and the Penguins have started off the second period very frisky.
Well, they go to the net pretty well, and that's what's happening right now is that Bullard tried to cut out front, and he just lost control of the puck, and he just ended up on top of a goalie. Now, what happens in that situation if he's knocked on that goalie, that player will take his time in getting up. Because if you have that goaltender down and out of the play, it gives your opposition, or gives your teammates rather, a pretty good chance to get an open shot on net.
Bullard against Philadelphia's Ezel. The Flyers' Marsh sweeps to the far side with the puck, takes it into the neutral zone at the red line, winds up, drives wide of Romano, ricochets deep out on the near side, and Marsh is there to try to get his own carom. But the Pens shoot at the center ice, and we're going to have a cross-check against Philadelphia. And it may be Rick Tocchet or Peter Zezel or Murray Craven, one of the three. Oh, no, it's going to be Marsh. I only had one other name I could have gotten wrong. It comes at 3:31. We have a Pittsburgh power play coming up. Early second period, 2-0 Penguins.
When your car knocks driving uphill, does everybody pass you?
Everybody's passing.
I'm well aware of that fact, Eunice.
Oh, it's only a comment, Walter.
And I took note of the comment, Eunice.
Try Texaco's higher octane that gave powerful turbos even more power against regular unleaded. Texaco's super unleaded boosted acceleration almost 12%.
Isn't that Werner Lutz? We went to high school together.
By golly, you're right. I thought Werner was dead.
Texaco's super unleaded, superstar power for more car power.
Pittsburgh's second power play opportunity. 3:31, the time of Marsh's cross-checking, Miner.
Marsh has 36 penalty minutes on the air. The penalties in the game even at 2. Pens are 0-for-1 on the advantage. And 1 for 21 this year against Philadelphia. Bullard harassed by Ron Sutter. Tries to put it cross ice for Lemieux. Blocked back to the point by Derek Smith. To Bodger. Back to Bodger from Lemieux. In along the left boards to Lemieux. Straight away to Bodger. Shot. Hits Lindbergh in front. Didn't know where the rebound went. And as Bobby said, they cover and they go to that net well. And Lindbergh did not know where the shot came from or where it went. Now behind the net. Mitch Lemieux looks to center, picks it up, goes around to the far side, back to the point to Bodger. In along the left side as they rotate well to Lemieux at the hash marks left board. Hold. He's got Bullard on the near side. He goes straight away to Bodger up the middle. 40-footer. Saved by Lindbergh as he came out deep to take it away. Then knocked down in front was Lamoureux. As up ice comes Philadelphia's Ron Sutter. Joined now over the line by McCrimmon with a drive, and he had the long side and missed. As the Pens were a little sluggish in carrying that puck, or making the move back into the zone, and the Flyers set up their best offensive play of this period.
Well, one thing the Flyers do very well is when they are shorthanded, they'll move to that offense very quickly. Nice pass by Sutter, but Brad McCrimmon right dead in the slot, just missed on the far side, or the Flyers might have been on the scoreboard for the first time.
They played 4:33 into this second period. Brad McCrimmon, who has a career high 7 goals this year already, and more than a half a season ago. 58 seconds remaining on the Marsh penalty. Penguins leading already 2-0. Flyers right now in the first clutch situation of the game. They're down 2-0. That's tough enough. They can ill afford to give up the power play here and fall down by 3 as Lemieux sent away in the right wing against Crosman. Breaking for the net is Chabot. Drops instead to Young. Young at the goal line to the left side of Lindbergh. Sweeps to the far corner. Chased by Crosman. Gets it to the far side to Chabot as Crosman is out there with Erickson, and they have Prop on. And the Flyers take it away. Prop with Poulin, and the outlet to Davey Poulin up on the right side at center ice. Cuts to the near side, into the zone. Sweeps to the near boards, gives it to Prop in front. His shot is smothered by Hotham. Prop doesn't see where it went, and I think we're going to get penalties.
Yes.
Looks like Hotham is going to go off with Prop.
They both got their sticks and slashed at each other as Hotham did a nice job of keeping Prop away from getting his shot off on goaltender Romano. And so Prop and Hotham will both be going off. It'll be for slashing, but a nice job on the part of the Penguin defenseman. Prop slashed to Hotham. He returned in kind, and the minors will occur at 5:09. Slashing will be the call. Just on the play up there, Gene, John Chabot went off the ice as well as he was doubled over. Looked like he took a shot in the corner to the right of Pelle Lindbergh.
Well, the Penguins have lost Loney for some reason. It appeared to be a cut, and now they've lost Chabot for a while. For Hotham, his first penalty minutes of the year here at Pittsburgh. Prop with 16 minutes on the air. They're coincidental minors with a team already short, so they'll still only have one less player on the ice, Philadelphia, but neither Prop nor Hotham will be able to come back as in a major penalty till the first stoppage of play after the penalty time has elapsed. Shot in on Lindbergh from center ice. Flyers clear right back to the point to the near side. Lemieux gets it in front, trying to find a man as the play was generated by Philadelphia, by Mantha. Now the penalty is over. The team's at full strength on the ice as the Flyers survive that penalty to Brad Marsh. But Philadelphia trails 2-0 right now as the Penguins have deservedly taken the lead. In this period, they've outshot Philadelphia by the tune of 5-1, trail in that stat 15-14. Flyers in their zone, work it up on the right side, but no control, and it's a very disciplined kind of hockey team we're watching. Pittsburgh, it's unique, and there's a big check in that near corner on Philadelphia's crossman by Mitch Lamoureux. Flyers going to, as Bobby said, are going to have to start repaying in kind. Now Philadelphia are going to get a penalty, I believe, or is it going to be against Philadelphia?
Doug Crossman out for knocking down Mitch Lamoureux, so that'll give Pittsburgh another power play opportunity. So with 13:44 remaining the second period, Penguins up 2-0. We'll take this timeout.
It's after midnight. You're hungry and your stomach is talking to you. Unfortunately, the refrigerator is empty. The supermarket is closed. And no one delivers at this hour. But you can drive to Wendy's, where the pickup window is now open late. So the next time your stomach talks to you after midnight, pick up something at Wendy's. And your stomach will thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Something later for Wendy's kind of people.
Just prior to Crossman's penalty, Mitch Lamoureux came right in and just buried the Flyer defense with a good, solid body check, knocking him in the corner. Frustration was on the face of Crossman. He came up, knocked Lamoureux down, but he picks up an interference call at 6:16.
We're going to have a penalty, and it's going to be against Pittsburgh right off the draw. And the Flyers give it away blue line to blue line, and I think it's going to be
Bullard
for slashing. And now he wants to go after Mark Howe for some reason. But he just blew all but 8 seconds of the Pittsburgh power play, and he's still jawing at somebody.
It'll come at 6:24. Now, it should be a penalty for not going directly to the penalty box. Well, it is in the book, but I'm sure it won't happen. No, they're giving it to Lemieux. His Bullard was the one who went over there to talk to Howe, but it's Mario Lemieux that'll pick up the slashing call. Of course, everything's still being talked about at the center ice position. Bullard having some words with Howe. Loney's back. He must have received a cut and has gone to repairs. He's come back, and he's out there now.
Penalties might have been a factor in this period, but the Flyers have only had one shot on goal in 6.5 minutes of play. Loney severely cut somewhere over the right eyebrow because they did not clear the blood away. They just sewed him up. Loney, as we'll repeat, the line mate of the two Sutters when all three played junior hockey at Lethbridge, the Broncos. Rich Ron Sutter and Troy Loney. Up at far side at center ice, they'll play 5 aside as Philadelphia will take the puck, looking for an opening. It is played by McCrimmon to the near side to Howe. Howe gets past the check of Mantha, right in at the left circle. Oh, the shot was blocked off by the defenseman Charlesworth, and Lamoureux, who's been throwing his body around, gets it up through for Loney. One-on-one with McCrimmon. Long shot on the wrister in full flight. Nicely conceived shot, but Philadelphia had that one go wide. As Loney ties up his man in the corner, he's dumped by Zezel. Zezel puts it right in front to Howe. Howe rolls it to the far side and gets it back, but the Flyers are right now defensively coming out of their zone rather than offensively, as the Pittsburgh forechecking pressure has been very good. Buck rolls in the Flyer zone, and it's cleared off the glove of McCrimmon to Bullard. Bullard right out in front, shot, and it's right into the pads of Lindbergh, and just barely. And then Bullard is bumped down on the near side, a little bit late by Crossman, but that was the residue of a bump right at the shot.
And Brian Propp and Greg Hotham have come out on the whistle there, but
from their minor penalties out of the box.
One thing, though, that the Flyers have been able to have that puck bounce off them. They've not controlled those clearing passes that come around the boards. They've knocked it into the slot area where Pittsburgh has been stationed. Gary Risling's goal of this opening minutes of the second period was a direct result of that. This time they had another shot, although it was a wide-angled one.
All right, Bullard wins the draw. Doesn't win the play, but now they get it back to Busquets. Shot way wide of the net. Propp on the far side can't get past the forechecking pressure on the far boards of Bodger. Bodger goes in deep, but Philadelphia picks it up the middle, and Marsh tries to get it through to Propp, who's pulled down, and Bodger's going to go off. Dumb penalty, and the Flyers are going to go and try to get the extra man out there as they roll it into the Pittsburgh zone, but Bodger just pulled down Propp right in front of the eyes of referee Dave Newell, He'll go out, and the Pens now have 5 of the game's 9 penalty. We'll have a Flyer power play coming up after we remind you that you're tuned, and we'll take station identification on the Flyers Hockey Network.
This is WTAF, TV 29 in Philadelphia.
7:42, the time. Bodger's penalty. High sticking's the call, so the Penguins have their first 2 #1 draft picks sitting side by side in the penalty box. And the Flyers will have a 4-on-3 situation at this point of the second period. Third power play for Philadelphia. Pittsburgh had 3, although their third one was very short-lived because Lemieux went off for slashing after 8 seconds of Crossman's penalty.
Bodger has 22 minutes on the air. Flyers don't contain. Chabot putting pressure on Thomas Eriksson, who's out with Howe, Zezel, and on the near side, Sinisalo. Howe over the line. Goes into the right wing corner, right past Charles. Wants to come in front of Stuffer. Right there, rebound, score by Thomas Eriksson. And that one is due to the great effort end-to-end of Mark Howe.
Well, Thomas Eriksson had an excellent goal last night against the New Jersey Devils going end-to-end, but Howe, using his great puck control ability and just trying to come out in front, as Pittsburgh completely collapsed, all 3 players. The rebound was right there. Eriksson moved up and easily had that whole top of the net to fire it over the fallen goaltender, Romano. And the Flyers have gotten on the scoreboard. Thomas Eriksson scores the goal. Howe will pick up 1 assist. It comes at 7:59.
And it came on just the Flyers' 3rd shot of the period. Now, Bullard over the line on the left side to Taylor, gets a return pass. Eriksson breaks that up. So the Flyers are on the board as down that right wing comes Sinisalo along with Zezel. Tries to cut inside his man. Zezel takes the puck off, is buried in the far corner, tries to grab the puck underneath him, gets it off to Sinisalo. Behind the net in front to Howe. Drive, save. Howe's there for the rebound, and it was blocked off. Howe, another one in front to Kerr, is out of the penalty box now. Each team gets a man. There's a whistling shot through the crease. Howe at the point shoots wide, and it's picked up and sent all the way down the ice by Charlesworth. Lemieux will be first in, so it'll be touched up, and then Lindbergh makes the loose play to the near side, allowing Lemieux to get the play against Howe. And the Flyers again technically make a mistake, but here comes Pullen down that left wing side, over the line against Buskis, into the slot to Kerr, and he rolls a backhander wide as he didn't have control of the stick. And all of a sudden the Flyers are starting to come to Pittsburgh, and as often happens, it is the goal of the individual excellence of one play that gets the team motivated. Out on that right side, a Pullen wraparound, and it'll be picked up by Kerr in the offensive left wing corner. He's bumped by Bodger to Prop behind the net. Pullen tries to center, smothered off by Hotham, and Lemieux now rolls it up, and he's pulled down, and that's such an obvious penalty by Tim Kerr. You wonder what Timmy had in his mind. He just grabbed Lemieux around the shoulders and pulled him down. The Pens with the extra forward out there trying to unload, and they cannot, and now the play is made. So Timmy Kerr will go off, and the Pens will have a power play coming up. 9:30 played into the second period, 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Oh, how lucky can you get? Here I am in Hawaii, and I'm with 32 of the most beautiful women from all over the world. Oh, thank you. They're competing in the first international beauty pageant for married women. Muchas gracias. And I just can't wait to see who's going to win the title, Mrs. Woman of the World.
Join host Richard Dawson and the world's most beautiful married women in the Mrs. Woman of the World pageant, Saturday at 9.
Timmy Kerr just picked up Mario Lemieux just like a wrestling body slam and fired him to the ice. Picks up the holding call. 9:30 the time. You got to be pretty strong to be able to do that. Lemieux 6'4", 210 pounds.
Well, it's a fall for Timmy Kerr and a penalty. Now it's 13 minutes on the air. The penalties are even at 5. Pittsburgh on their 4th power play. They're 0 for 3 on the night. They're an incredible 1 for 23 on the season against Pittsburgh. But how many can you give them before you get hurt, Bobby? There's an outlet through to Craven at center ice. Gets inside his man. Gonna cut right out in front. He shot. Romano the save, and he rolls into the net. But keeps that left skate against the far post and keeps the puck away.
Well, I'll tell you, Murray Craven is a lot faster than you might expect. He has those long strides, and he just burst up the middle as Shedden just misplayed the puck, and he got in there, and I think what happened is that he got control of the puck a little bit too late to get any kind of a good shot away, and he just shoveled it. But Romano, sprawling to the ice, covered up low, made the saves, and the Flyers still down by 1, 2-1.
Craven and Ron Sutter out, along with Crosman and Marsh. Mantha back with Bodger, and up front they'll have Lemieux, Young, and Belanger. Make that Lamoureux now instead of Belanger. Puck around to Lamoureux, the far side. Up through to Mario Lemieux at center ice. Right winging to Bullard into the zone. Tries to go through for Lamoureux. Broken up, and Doug Crosman shoots at the center ice, and the Flyers got a little break there as Ron Sutter lost his stick. And had the Pens been able to control that play in the zone, the Flyers might have been a little short. One man and one without a stick. Bodger coming out of his own zone. 1:14 remaining on the Pens power play. They lose it at center ice. And Brad Marsh slaps it all the way down as Pullen is out now with Propp and Crosman with Marsh. Mantha up the middle. Here comes Bullard into the zone. Make that Lamoureux dropping it off into the middle to Bullard. Shot, and that was deflected near side. You don't want him to get in that close with that kind of opportunity shot. Marsh around the far side to Pullen, and he backhands it from his right boards all the way down the ice into the near corner of the Pittsburgh zone. Behind the net, Propp tying up Mantha. Dies the puck up. Mantha is knocked down. The Flyers are going to dig it out. Propp had no one in front because his other penalty killer up front is Propp behind the net as well. So they hang on and get the offensive face-off with 38 seconds remaining on the penalty to Timmy Kerr. 9:08 remaining second period. It's 2-1 Pittsburgh.
You know, the one thing that can really help a team in their penalty killing statistics and also having a very successful unit is that aggressive forechecking. Propp and Pullen, who have the good speed, got on very quickly on that puck carrier. When you hurry that player, no matter who it is, they're going to be making mistakes, coughing that puck up.
Hotham and Charlesworth now. And they have Risling out along with Chabot and Young. Philadelphia was still with Ron Sutter and Murray Craven, McCrimmon, and Howe now. 30 seconds on the advantage. Charlesworth outlets to Hotham along the near side. Rink wide pass. Chabot picks it up at the red line. Clears at the Flyer line. A wraparound behind Lindbergh. Can't stop it behind the net. Flyers in their own left wing corner. Howe trying to dig it out. 2 Penguins in there. 2 Flyers. Now it's 3 Penguins, 2 Flyers in the corner to the left of Lindbergh. They're chopping away, trying to dig mushrooms out. Flyers keeping it there. Now Pittsburgh gets it clear. They work out of that corner. Straight away Risling to the point. Shot by Hotham is way off the top of the glass behind the Philadelphia net. And Murray Craven digs out the rebound along the right boards in the Flyer zone and backhands it all the way down. Penalty is over. Out of the box comes Philadelphia's Tim Kerr. 8.5 minutes left second period. Despite leading 2-1, the Pens are met with booze here. Pickoff at center ice by Kerr, trying to roll it through, but Desolate turned his back. Pens take it off, and now the Flyers come back. Kerr over the line. Swings to the left against Hotham. Right out in front. Shovels it wide. And Zezel picks it up in that corner. Fights for it with Charlesworth in there as well as Derek Smith. In for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Chabot to make it an evenly divided foursome. And we get a standoff as now Kerr and I believe Risling are looking at one another. But there's a mismatch.
That's for sure. I think they're just sitting there talking. Timmy Kerr, I think, is starting to get awfully frustrated with the way they're holding and clutching a grab on him. And he made a pretty good move around Greg Hotham, but he was in very deep, and Hotham pulled him down as Kerr tried to shovel a shot underneath a falling Roberto Romano. 8:05 remaining. Pittsburgh in the lead, 2-1.
Tough checking period with 8:05 remaining, and Flyers have had 5 shots, a game total of 19. Pittsburgh 6, a game total of 15. 2-1 Penguins. Bullard in the first, Risling in the second, and Philadelphia's Erickson on the power play just before the halfway point of the second period. Philadelphia, Hackborn with Brown and Derek Smith, but Buskis takes the offensive right circle faceoff away from Philadelphia. Starts up through to Kevin McCarthy on for the first time in a regular shift. Just was out there killing penalties. Puck comes in the Flyer slot. Derek Smith is pulled down, and the Flyers come up the middle of the ice. Brown right winging to Hackborn, but the play was read by Bodger, and Pittsburgh takes it and starts back the other way. Sent in deep on the near side by Kevin McCarthy, and then as McCarthy bumps Marsh, Brad gets it to center ice. Hackborn can't control, and Pittsburgh with the puck. Bodger through to Kevin McCarthy. Taps it off the far boards in the Flyer zone. Philadelphia out to Brown. Brown looks. He's got a 3-on-2 up the middle with Marsh. Left wing into the zone, but can't find Derek Smith. It ricochets behind the Pittsburgh net. Pass Smith into the far corner to Troy Loney. He's double-checked. 2 Flyers in there, Hackborn and Derek Smith. Flyers may get an offensive left-right circle face-off out of that quick play in the corner against 1 Penguin with 7:18 remaining second period. 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Other action around the league. The Islanders in the second period hold a 1-0 lead over Hartford. Greg Gilbert picking up his 7th of the year to give the Islanders that lead. And in the first period at Chicago, Stuart Gavin, 6th of the year, has given the Maple Leafs a 1-0 lead in the first period. That game being played in Chicago.
Timmy Kerr, who leads the NHL in power play goals with 12. There's Thomas Erickson, a shot off the draw, blocked Poulin recovers, pass Risling, offensive left side. Back to Erickson, up the middle. Shot, and Romano grabbed that one as Erickson was bumped off his skates by Bullard after the effort. We want to remind everyone, Bobby will be back on the air on the radio network in Prism Sunday night at home at 7 with the Washington Caps. And we'll be there in Washington next Wednesday. That's the 26th of December on the radio network and the Channel 29 at 7:30 as the Flyers commence that big road trip. Tickets available. Great Christmas treat. Last Flyers home game of 1984, Sunday night.
Should be a good one, too, because Washington's getting to the top of their game. The Flyers are coming around as well after having that sort of a slump for the last couple of weeks. Should be an excellent hockey game this Sunday night. Make sure you get your tickets.
They've only lost one of about their last 15 or so. At one point, they were 6, 8, and 5. And as we look now, they've won 11, lost 1, and tied 2 of their last 14. Kerr back to Erickson, and he couldn't handle it. He's got to get back quickly. Cuts off one man, and then Dvorak was able to scoot across to the far side and break up Risling. Now the Flyers back down that right side, but without control, and the Pens shoot it into center ice. Working down that left side, Risling, whose goal now is the leader. Into Bullard, who got behind Erickson. Drive from deep in on the left, and Lindbergh was equal to that. Flyers now, Prop checks off his man on the far side, and then Prop is worked on by Bullard.
Now it's Dave Poulin. Bullard grabbed him from behind.
Okay.
Poulin took him out very solidly along the boards. Bullard dropped his gloves, grabbed him, and started throwing punches.
Now I don't know what Davey would have done here to get any penalty minutes, because Bullard was checked and then grabbed Poulin from behind as he's been testy all night, Mike Bullard. Flyers should get a plus out of this somehow or other. With 6:43 remaining in the second period from the Civic Arena, Pens 2 and the Flyers 1. Living legends in sports are a rare breed, and the opportunity to honor one often becomes a once-in-a-lifetime event. So it was with Bobby Clark on his night at the Spectrum. We'd like you to share in this tribute with a copy of this specially commissioned poster saluting Clark's memorable career. For just $3.99, you will have a cherished keepsake of this once-in-a-lifetime event, Bobby Clark. Available now at participating Texaco dealers and all 24 Atomic Discount Tire Centers.
They have not announced the penalties as yet, but I'm sure both of them will pick up at least 5 for fighting, and I'm sure they're going to pick up more because now they're making their way to the respective dressing rooms. Dave Poulin of the Flyers, Mike Bullard of the Pittsburgh Penguins, both the captains of the respective teams. 6:43 remains, so they must have picked up at least 7, Gene.
Well, the Flyers get no advantage out of this because nothing is going on the board.
2-1 the score, as you mentioned, a very closely checked second period, and that's something that Pittsburgh has really improved upon, and that's prompted them to win 5 of their last 6 games, as they've been tightened up, cut down the goals against, and waited for the breaks. 13-17, the time of these penalties.
Well, Dave, who only had 10 minutes coming into the night, picks up almost double. He gets 7 more for a year total of 17 for Bullard. With his 7, he now has 32 for the year.
Roughing was for Bullard. Poulin pick up roughing as well?
No, he picked up slashing. So, coincidental majors or minors, they'll skate at full strength on the ice. The penalties in the game are even at 7 apiece. Puck in the Pittsburgh zone, and Ron Sutter couldn't make a play at the right side of the net as diving across was Romano to eat up a loose puck, and the Flyers will get an offensive left circle draw. 6:33 remaining in this second period, and we've had all but 3 of the penalties, 11 of them, all but 3 of the penalties in the game. Of the 14, 11 have come in this period.
Tocchet out there for him a few times in the second period. Gene picked up 2 goals last night against Jersey.
Rich and Ron Sutter with Tocchet, Marsh, and Crosman. Out there is Shabbat with Loney and Shedden. Defensively, Buskus. Flyers work in the near corner. Trying to put it into the slot. It goes to Marsh. Shot wide from the left boards to the short side. Ricochets back to Crosman. He tries to go in deep. He can't. The Flyers get it back to Crosman at the point. Look out, up the middle. Drive right in front, and Romano goes into the net, and so does Ron Sutter. Well, I'll tell you, that was very close in the body of Romano to go over the goal line as he rolled in.
I think you're going to see something with Tocchet, Bodger, and Buskus. Bodger and Buskus with the Penguins. They were taking jabs at Tocchet in front of the net, and they turned around. Now we got Loney and Rick Tocchet dropping their gloves behind the net. It'll be in mostly a wrestling match. as they're trying to get position to throw their punches. Troy Loney, a big kid. Big and strong, too, as he... And talking, of course, no slouch in that size department and strength either. But things are starting to get a little chippy here in the second period. It was very closely checked, but frustration is setting in with both clubs. And the linesmen now are separated the two, and they'll be going off. Majors, at least, they might pick up. Loney's eyes back is opened up again. Is he bleeding from the right eye? He got cut earlier on in the period. And in that scuffle, it didn't look like there was any punches thrown. It might have been just opened up when they were rubbing shoulders and wrestling.
Well, they'll both go to the dressing rooms to join Dave Poulin and Mike Bullard. Puckett still turning away from the linesman, Wayne Bonney. And he's yelling to his bench something. Oh, he's yelling at the Pittsburgh bench. And gets his helmet, and he'll go to the dressing room. Well, there are fireworks here at Pittsburgh tonight. 2-1 for the Pens. And, Bobby, we have, looks like, end of the second period. The Islanders at Hartford 1-0. Greg Gilbert. All right, now they're talking. The referee, Dave Newell, with the two linesmen, Wayne Bonney and Mark Pear, as to what they saw and what penalties they choose to assess. Wayne Bonney from Ottawa, 6th year in the league. He's 31. And Mark Pear from Windsor, Ontario, across the river from Detroit. His 6th year in the league. He's 27. And Dave Newell, 18 years in the league. I'll tell you, when you were on this Flyer club, you wouldn't have bet he'd live that long.
No, I think that we probably would have bet that something would have happened to him in an alley on some dark street or some dark night. But Jimmy, we made mention that he has become a very good official. Dougie Crossman got the good shot away, and this is what happened just prior to the stop. Ronnie Sutter deflected the puck in on Romano, but he was able to block off low and freeze the puck to force a face-off, and it was just after that play that everything happened. And it was mainly talking with Buskus and Bodger. And then Troy Loney said something to him, and they both dropped their gloves, and they picked up 7 minutes apiece.
If you'd have said Looney on the ice when you were playing, he'd come after you, too. All right, they each get 5 for fighting and a misconduct, 15 minutes. So they'll not be able to come back on the ice until 8 minutes and 42 seconds have elapsed into the third period. So that would be 11-18 they'll be able to back on. But again, coincidental majors and minors, they'll still be at full strength on the ice. And they've got Rich and Ron Sutter out now with Dave Brown and Crossman with Marsh. And it is Charlesworth with Mantha and Lemieux with Young and Belanger. Puck in that far corner. Lemieux is tied up by Ron Sutter. Rolls it into the near corner. Rich Sutter goes in there along with Charlesworth back behind to Ron. He's got a man in front. He had Crossman cheating in, but then took his eye off and never got the pass out, as the Penguins now have Lemieux up on the near side. Checked right off the puck nicely by Ron Sutter, who'll turn back the other way, and then Dave Brown is going to go off, and he's challenged by Warren Young. And Young...
Lemieux got hit, and he dove up in the air like he was coming off a trampoline. Warren Young and Brown is just throwing him around like a rag doll, landing left hands all over the place. But Lemieux Lemieux standing right by the bench. He should be sent to a neutral corner, but Brown and Warren Young. And Warren Young didn't even throw a punch, as Dave Brown just dropped him, threw him around with like a rag doll, and that's pretty tough because Warren Young is a pretty big player. The 6'3", 200.
Well, Brown is going to pick up a minor, and he's going to pick up a major. Young is going to pick up a major. Brown may pick up an additional 2 maybe for the aggressor in that fight. And again, up to the discretion of referee Dave Newell. But my goodness, we've already had 15 penalties in this period, plus what we're coming up with now, and it remains 2-1. As each team now has 3 men sent to the dressing room. Bullard, Loney, and Young for the Penguins, Poulin, Tocchet, and Brown for Philadelphia. All of this coming. The one set of penalties at 13-17, 25 seconds later another, and now 19 seconds later 2 more. But Young isn't being sent off. He's going to the penalty box. Well, could that mean only 5 minutes?
I think so. Brown was picking up the 2-minute minor for knocking down Mario Lemieux. That was going to be the original penalty call by referee Dave Newell. Then when Young came over and Brown turned around, that's when they both dropped their gloves and went at each other.
Now, after Brown hit Lemieux, Young came at him, so actually Brown wasn't the aggressor there.
Boy, I'll tell you, Mario Lemieux has become a pretty good actor. He's 6'4", 200 pounds, and to get knocked down that easily with both feet going off the ice makes you wonder. But he draws the penalty, and that's what works. 5:59 remains this second period. Pittsburgh up 2-1.
Penn should have a power play on the minor called against Brown, at least. And then after that, they're discussing there the linesman Wayne Bonney with the helmet. The other with is back to us is Mark Pear and the referee Dave Newell. The first period, quiet, 3 penalties, 1 Pittsburgh goal, but it started here early in the second. And we've had a host of penalties, and now we've had 3 confrontations within the span. 44 seconds.
Well, once the 2 players squared away, Brown, a left-hander who surprises a lot of people because of that, really got good position on Young. Young trying to shield himself with the helmet, but Brown's throwing much more punches, getting the better of it. Young just trying to really shield himself from being hit. Wasn't able to really retaliate at all.
Now Dave Newell is talking to
Brown's
Brad
got
Marsh.
4 minutes up there.
Yeah, I thought that. Maybe the 2 against Lemieux and then 2 more for the action against Bullard. We thought that might happen. So he's going to pick up 3 penalties. 5 for fighting and a double minor.
Number 21, Dave Brown. 2 minutes for high sticking, 2 minutes for roughing, 5 minutes for fighting.
Well, that's what has happened. He got the high sticking call on Mario Lemieux. Then he'll pick up a 2-minute minor for roughing, for possibly being the instigator of the fight with Warren Young, and plus the 5-minute.
Young, 5 for fighting at 14:01.
Young with
major, and Young only picks up a 5-minute major.
Young with 74 minutes on the year, and Dave Brown now for his action picks up 9, and that added to his 40 will give him 53 on the year. And the Pens have a double power play coming up, and the Flyers coming on here and scoring that goal that brought them within 1 at the 8-minute mark. And that was 6 minutes ago. Now the Pens have a chance on 4 minutes of power play. See if they can't get that goal back and get that 2-goal effort and worry the Flyers and take the play right back away the momentum. They are 0 for 4 tonight. They are 1 for 24 against Philadelphia. With Brown sent to the dressing room, Lenny Hackborn is in the penalty box. So the Flyers have Poulin, Tocchet, and Brown in the dressing room, and they have Hackborn on the penalty bench. That's 4. And they're all forwards. Well, the Flyers are going to be short from up front men. As out there now is Craven with Ron Sutter and Marsh with Crosman. As the Pens penetrate, roll it into the offensive corner. Crosman around behind the net. Looks, a wraparound will be picked off by Shedden at the point. Challenged by Ron Sutter, who has the puck. Deflect off Shedden and Sutter into center ice. As Shedden allowed himself to get too tangled up with Ron Sutter. Now the Pens at center ice. They work to Lemieux on the near side, tries to get it back at the blue line. The Pens do just keep it in. Behind the net, poked to free nicely by Crosman, away from Mitch Lemieux, and then up to Marsh and through into center ice. Pens quickly on the right side. Belanger over the line, cross-ice pass, trying to find Bodger breaking in. Flyers take it away and send it down the ice. Craven doing the job, and now he and Ron Sutter will go off. Derek Smith will come on with Brian Propp, as Davey Poulin, one of the Flyers' stellar penalty killers, is in the dressing room with some penalty time. Over the line comes Lamoureux, winds it around to the offensive left side. Played back to the point to Bodger. Lemieux drive, and it was tipped away by Doug Crosman into the near seats, I believe. Pens will get an offensive circle face-off with 3:01 remaining on the double minor to Dave Brown. 5 minutes remaining second period. 2-1 Pittsburgh.
Boy, I'll tell you, that just scares the heck out of goaltenders when they deflect that shot. But Dougie Crosman, complete confidence in getting it out of the way, but sometimes if you can't get 100% of the puck, you can deflect it on goal. So when goaltenders are all set for that shot, especially from long range, they really like to try and take that shot themselves and have that defenseman or forward, or whatever the case may be, take the player off to the side so he doesn't get a chance for a rebound or a tip.
Hotham and Ment to the point man, and they have Risling left, Taylor right, centered by Shabbat. Flyers with Ron Sutter wins the draw to Howe, who's out with McCrimmon. And the other Flyer forward on the near side is Brian Propp, and the Flyers get it and send it all the way down ice. Played away from the forechecking of Propp by Romano. Samantha around behind his net, and Hotham up on the left side. And Risling through on the give and go. Boom! Taylor is belted. The puck rolls in the Flyer zone. Chabot looking to put pressure on, and then Mark Howe gives it away into the near corner to Taylor. Taylor behind the net. Looks to break in front. Nice play by Chabot to spin away twice from McCrimmon behind the net. Control. Looks to center. Has a man in front, and then plays to the right board. Hash marks to Taylor. Back to Mantha. Shot on the net. Kicked just to the near side. Nicely by Lindbergh. Flyers trying to get out. It's picked up into the slot. Risling near side as he lost his cool there and played it blindly. Flyers pick it off. They go back to the point, and it's sent out through to Sinisalo one-on-one with Hotham. Over the line. Works right on in. Backhander. He's pulled down from a distance. Dave Newell just lets the play go on with 2:06 remaining on the double minor penalty against Dave Brown. Flyers pick it off again and send it all the way down as Crosman is out there with Marsh, and up front, Ron Sutter with Sinisalo. As Hotham near side to Mantha. Flyers again, Ron Sutter, who's starting to really warm to the task with the abilities that were so prominent last year in his full rookie season with Philadelphia. Lemieux now up the middle of the ice at the Flyer line, right winging it into the corner. Belanger chases with Brad Marsh. They tie one another up. Marsh kicks it free to the right side of the Philadelphia net. Up in his right wing, unchallenged through to center ice. Has two men there. He's got Ron Sutter with Sinisalo with just Mantha back. Pass misfires, and the Pens quickly turn it back the other way. Lamoureux up to Lemieux over the line, trying to cut up the middle. Drops a pass right side to Belanger. Tries a pass into the slot. There it goes, and it's shot wide. As it rolled to the right circle, and they try to go through the screen. Now Bodger back at the point. Crosses over to Belanger. Screen shot. Oh, and it went wide, and Brad Marsh had it go off his stick. Tries to pick it up in the near corner. He's playing without a stick. Now Lemieux, realizing that, goes back to the point. Winding up. Bodger into the near corner. Drive. Lindbergh hit the post behind him, I believe. And ricocheted back to the near side to Shedden. Winds it around behind the net. The Flyers sore press. They'd love to get a stoppage of play. They have a man in the box and a man on the ice with no stick. Lemieux tries to center. There's a play on the net. And Marsh has got to try to hand pass it to somebody. Now it comes off to the right side and a deflection behind the net. Lindbergh dives on it for the stoppage of play. 2:44 remaining third period from Pittsburgh. The Penguins lead the game 2-1.
The superstars of tennis, Helen Gurley Brown and Neil Sedaka, join the jet set on television's most glittering hour of excitement.
Saturday at 8 on TV 29 Philadelphia.
We've had 19 penalties in this second period, 11 to Philadelphia, 8 to Pittsburgh. Flyers have 12 of the game's 22. But thus far, Pittsburgh now on its second power play on the double minor to Dave Brown, are 0 for 5 on the night, 1 for 25 on the year against Philadelphia. Chabot, Taylor, and Risling along with Bodger and Mantha. Flyers counter with Zezel and Propp with McCrimmon and Howe. Defensive right circle. Zezel, the puck is dropped, and we have a false draw as it was poked by Chabot back to the left point for an opportunity for Doug Bodger, but with a circle violation. The draw handled by Mark Pear. A couple of false draws. Now Chabot tries to kick it free. Goes back to Bodger at the point. In along the left side. Mark Taylor back to Bodger. Crosses right side. Mantha looks. Shot on the net. Lindbergh got it in the 5-hole and then had a little trouble covering it. Falls on it for the rebound as Brad McCrimmon did a nice job of pushing Risling off to the right side of Lindbergh. So he got that shot by Mool Mantha. We have 34 seconds remaining on the second half of the double minor to Dave Brown. Drake Skates, by the way, is reprinting a limited number of commemorative Bobby Nart Clark night programs. You can obtain a copy by sending $2 plus a proof of purchase from any Drake's family or family pack, value pack to Drake's Bobby Clark offer, Post Office Box 2429, Philadelphia, the zip 19147. That's a Drake's family or value pack. Chabot, Risling on the left, Taylor on the right, with Mantha at the right point, Bodger at the left side. Flyers now counter with McCrimmon and Howe, and they have Ron Sutter taking the draw against Chabot. Flyers defensive right circle. Howe doing a nice job getting it off to Ron Sutter. Clears, but not out, and then through on the left wing to Murray Craven. Craven going to channel Bodger. Pulled off with skates as Bodger cut him off and pinched him off the board. And Risling retrieves with 20 seconds left on the Pittsburgh double power play. Up through nicely to Chabot at center ice. Coming over the line on the left side. Drop pass by Risling, but nobody there. Picked off by Murray Craven and ice. Craven out now with Zezel. Craven will go off, and Zezel will be on with Propp with 2 minutes remaining in this second period. Propp steals at center ice. over the line, up the middle. He's got Zezel right in. And as he went to the forehand from the backhander, it rolled under the goaltender. Romano dove out as Zezel just got in too tight to make a play. Trying to loop to the backhand to the forehand and circle away from the charging goaltender, but didn't have full control as Prop sent it in through, and Philadelphia had the defenseman beaten. And then as he tried to shove backhand, forehand, it rolled right in on Romano. Flyers close, but no cigar. The penalty is over. Flyers now at full strength on the ice as they kill that double minor. We mentioned that the Islanders lead Hartford 1-0 after 2 periods at Hartford. The goal, number 7 by Greg Gilbert. Now Mark Pear has gone down to the Philadelphia goal looking for something. I think Thomas Eriksson said, I thought there was some debris down there. That's just what Mark Pear is cleaning up now. Just to the right side of the Philadelphia net at the far end of the ice. Could be anything. Debris, chips off the stick. Shots in this period, the Pens have had 11, a game total of 20. The Flyers have had 8, a game total of 22. The penalties are the big thing. Philadelphia with 12 of the game's 22, and we still have 21 minutes and 57 seconds of regulation to play. Kerr out there, and it goes back to Eriksson with a drive. That hits bodies, ricochets back to Eriksson. Tries to dump it in front. Proper throw, and he had Hackborn open on the right side of the goaltender. And Hackborn, thinking Prop was going to turn around the shoot, went for the net, and the pass went behind him, and that threat went a warning. As up ice, Eriksson takes a check from Belanger. As over the line comes Kerr. He's got Hackborn in, drive, and Romano got a pace of that as Hackborn went high to the short side and deflected it the goaler out of the rink, and Lenny still looking for that first goal of the 83-84 season. Roberto Romano as the Flyers got the break there. Kerr sending it in as Hackborn had the left circle turn right in at the dot, shot high, and it hit. Not the top shoulder of Romano, but it hit the butt end of the stick. And again, maybe Hackborn a little snake-bitten, but he's had great opportunities last night. He's working hard tonight. As Bobby Taylor said, the special project by Mike Keenan to get Hackborn going, who certainly, off his previous credentials in the American League and last year with Philadelphia, shows he can score. Kerr, Prop, along with Hackborn on the wing. They go back to Dvorak. A shot rolling into Kerr at the side of net. The Hackborn in front. They scramble. Knocked behind. Kerr again behind along with Hackborn. It rolls into the far corner. Prop goes in there with Lamoureux. Now Kerr into that corner along with Bodger. And Shabbat trying to tie up the puck. Laying off the outside of that pile is Hackborn. Digging it out to Prop. Prop knocked down. Hackborn coming out again. They try to get it to the point, but Lamoureux takes it. Clears badly, and it's kept in at the point by Eriksson. He's grabbed, shoves it into the far corner, but Belanger is there to Bodger, and Bodger, unchallenged, is able to get it up and down the ice with 1 minute remaining in the period. Flyers along the near side trail, as they did at the start of this period by 1. They shoot it behind the Pittsburgh net. Pens let it go. Touched up on the near side by Shedden. He tries to go up the middle. Lamoureux's beaten, and then Prop can't keep it in. Eriksson back with Dvorak, goes left side to Sinisalo. Up the middle, drops off. There is Zezelin. Tries to pass to the side of the net. But Sinisalo was stopped, and we're going to have a penalty against Pittsburgh, as I think Buskus is going to go off for holding Peter Zezel, and will come at 19:31 of the second period. So just as the major penalty expired to Warren Young, it will be Mitch Lamoureux who goes into the box. Lamoureux.
Number 12, Mitch Lamoureux, 2 minutes for hooking.
2 minutes for hooking. So the Pens pick up their 11th penalty, 23 whistle by referee Dave Newell. Has been busy in this period. But the Flyers had a couple of good opportunities there, just did not finish well. 19:31 the time of the penalty. So we've now had 19 penalties in this period, 20. All told in the game, 23. Puck deep in the Philadelphia zone. Flyers are just 1 for 3 on the advantage. And they have just 20 seconds to see if they can't neutralize the game at 2-2. Up in the far side, cross-ice pass, picked up and then stopped by McCrimmon. Goes off to Howe, and Howe leads the charge as the Flyers just can't get anything going, and slap it down behind the Pittsburgh net. Set up there for Mantha, and then slides to center ice, and that's where the second period will come to an end. So we had a lot of penalties, a lot of shots, a goal apiece. We're right back where we started from at the end of the first period. Pittsburgh up by a goal. The score after 2 periods from the Civic Center in Pittsburgh, the Penguins 2 and the Flyers 1. And for highlights of this second intermission, let's go back to Philadelphia and Steve Coates.
Coming up in our second period intermission, Bobby Taylor will be back with a guest. We'll then have a special Christmas feature, and I'll be back with a wrap of that second period. That's all coming up right after these messages.
It was the night before Christmas and all through the house. Not a creature.
Play in the third period. Philadelphia defending left are on the power play with 1:25 remaining on the minor to Mitch Lamoureux. Philadelphia with Howe, McCrimmon, Kerr, Sinisalo, and Peter Zezel. They trail 2-1. Howe over the line into the left wing corner against Busquets, around behind the net. Comes to the net, right in front. Sinisalo, a shot. And a good save by Romano on that quick thrust as the Flyers trying to keep it along the far side do. Zezel trying to put it in front to Kerr. It goes behind the net, sweeps back to the left point to McCrimmon. Tries to save it. Does, but it's picked off on the near side by Bodger. The Pens try to clear it out. Philadelphia keeps it in, but they're boxed at the right point. McCrimmon opens it up the middle, as down was knocked Zezel. Howe in front with a shot, that's blocked. And Kerr at the goal line to the right of the goaltender, trying to cover the rebound. It bounced past him. The Pens dig it out and ice it with 40 seconds remaining on the Flyer advantage. Then they have Belanger out there now with Mark Taylor and Mantha with Charlesworth. Flyers on the near side. Crosman up the middle. Nice play by Zezel into the zone, but right onto the stick of Charlesworth, who can name the tune right now as he rags in his own zone. Chased in there by Hackborn, tries to clear it out, hits the body, but he gets it off to Belanger. He does send it all the way down. Flyers are 1 for 3 tonight on the advantage. This is their 4th pop. The outlet on the left wing at center ice. They get it through to Hackborn. He's going to get a left circle play in front. And Propp was there. And an excellent defensive play by Mark Taylor to keep a stick from the ice. Now the Flyers in the middle. Erickson can't find the handle. Kerr, a backhander wide as the penalty is over. Flyers to Hackborn in the corner. Into the slot. Erickson dumps it behind. And Romano on the backboard carom will eat it up for the stoppage of play as 2 men come out of the penalty box for Pittsburgh. Bullard ending his major, and Lamoureux is minor, and joining that crew is Philadelphia's Davey Poulin.
I'll tell you, Brian Propp now has been checked twice from behind on good plays on the part of Pittsburgh Penguin forwards. This last one by Taylor, just hooking him enough to knock him off stride, not allowing him to get a shot away on Roberto Romano. And when you have your forwards coming back to help out those defensemen, your defensive record gets better, and you start to put some victories on the board, and that's exactly what has happened to the Penguins over the last 6 games. That's the kind of plays they've been getting.
Flyers get it back to Crosman. Looks, shot, score! Doug Crosman on a screener, just his 2nd of the year. And at 1:44, my good friends, this game is tied at 2.
Ronnie Sutter has just played some outstanding hockey over the last 3 weeks for Philadelphia. He's been checking and working hard extremely well, and getting the draw directly back to Dougie Crossman, but right after that, he just went directly to the net, creating that screen, and a good shot as Roberto Romano got caught flat in the net, also giving that short side a little bit too much for Doug Crossman, and he puts the puck in. The Flyers have tied the hockey game. Sutter should pick up the assist.
That's Crossman's first goal since November 18th at home against the Island, and the Flyers, it was just their 17th game, so 15 games, and that scoring drought is busted. Derek Smith at center ice rolls it into Ron Sutter, shoots it in deep. Rich Sutter out there along with Derek Smith and Peter Zezel. Flyers working along the offensive left side as Marsh tries to make a play, but Lemieux is in there to bang at the center ice. Babbage out there, and Marsh trying to contain him in the Pittsburgh zone. As the play getting testy, it's been all night, and it won't take much, as now Rich Sutter and Bodger are daggering at one another. Puck along the far side. Babbage takes a run at Marsh. He goes down, and Babbage, who has played seldom tonight, is out there along with Lemieux and Warren Young as the puck is tipped into the offensive zone by Zezel behind the net. Centering pass by Tocchet, just missed by Sinisalo, and in front, the Flyers try to make a play, and it goes back to the point. McCrimmon rolling puck shot, short side wide. Flyers pick it up on the offensive left side. Zezel a wraparound, but everybody was to that side of the net, nobody on the near side, and that allows Warren Young to outlet through to Babbage at center ice. Long shot from center off the glass behind Pelle Lindbergh. The Devils now bring out Risling, who's making a run at McCrimmon. Bumps him off the board, but the Flyers get it around to Howe. He fails to get out. There's a play behind the Philadelphia net, cleared back to the point nicely by McCrimmon into center ice. Mantha drives it back in from the red line, right side at center ice to the near corner. And we've got a play on the near side and a stoppage as Dave Newell was inadvertently hit by Mike Bullard. He's in a little bit of pain, and I think we have a stoppage of play.
Penalty. Brad McCrimmon will pick up an interference call. It'll come at 3:20. 2-2 the score here in the third period. We'll be back after these words.
ho! Santa Hart here at Spectrum Showcase Store with a great gift for the Flyer fans on your list. The Flyers Santa Stocking loaded with 12 fabulous Flyers items like a bumper sticker, puck, pens, mini pennant, mini hockey stick chrome logo, and 2 tickets to a Flyers game. Separately, these items would cost you $35, now specially priced at $25. At any of the 5 Spectrum Showcase stores in a mall near you, if you're good, maybe Santa will bring you one, too.
Well, the crowd here at the Civic Arena clapping and also with great anticipation as McCrimmon picks up an interference call at 3:20. The Penguins have a power play again.
They are 0 for 6 tonight, 1 for 25 on the year against Philadelphia. The Flyers have killed 16 straight Penguin power plays. You wonder how long that's going to go on, Bobby. And I'm sure Bob Berry's frustrated by that down on the bench. Lamoureux takes the draw. He's got Bullard on the right. Lemieux on the left. Shedden is the point man as the 4th forward, and Mo Mantha, good driving defenseman, as the right side. And the Flyers go with Crosman, who just timed the game. Ron Sutter and Derek Smith, the assist at 1:44. He's out with Marsh, and they have Craven on with Ron Sutter. Mantha reads the Flyers dump out, clears around to the near side for Lemieux, who can't find the handle. Now digs it out, double teamed in the near corner, tries to protect the puck, still has 2 men on him. Shouldn't have gotten caught in that direction. But now they play it back to Lemieux. Drive from the point. And an effort by Shedden, and that went off the right toe of Pelly Lindbergh, and caroms off into center ice and back to the Pittsburgh zone. Lemieux up on the left side. Lamoureux over the line on the right side to Bullard. Gets right inside Marsh. Tries to get inside Ron Sutter. Goes back to the point. There's Mantha looking in on the net. Lindbergh kicks it behind. And Marsh trying to steer it out of trouble does to Craven. And Craven finds the opening from his left wing corner all the way down the ice. With 1:15 remaining on the McCrimmon penalty. Brad with 28 minutes on the air, and the Flyers now with 13 of the game's 24 penalties. The Pens shoot it all the way down, and I think they're going to be whistled for icing. We're early in the 3rd period. Let's pause for station identification. The Flyers Hockey Network.
This is WTAF, TV 29 in Philadelphia.
Derek Smith picks up a 2nd assist on Dougie Crossman's 2nd goal of the year to tie this hockey game at 1:44. So it should be Ron Sutter and Derek Smith the assists on that goal. Boy, I'll tell you one thing. Ronnie Sutter and Murray Craven have done a tremendous job at killing penalties tonight.
Well, one thing is obvious. Bob Berry does not have confidence in Mario Lemieux taking defensive faceoff. He came off the ice, and he'll try to join the play as soon as Philadelphia gives up the puck, but they don't. Shoot it to the Pittsburgh line. 50 seconds remaining on the McCrimmon penalty. Hotham out, along with Bodger at the point, and they have Young with Chabot and Wayne Babbage. Puck behind the Philadelphia net. There is Erickson with a wraparound to the point. It went off the body, and Hotham 2-on-1. Poland over the line. He's right on in. Drive. Save. Rebound. Shot over the top of the net. As Prop was dumped at the side by Bodger, and the Pens outlet to Chabot at center. They have a 3-on-2. Right wing to Babbage. There goes Young for the net. Back to Babbage. Tries to come around to the near side of the net. Does. Tries to center. Blocked off. He's bumped by Prop. Bumped again by Prop. Now Young goes in that offensive left wing corner, and we get a stoppage as the Flyers cover up beautifully. But they almost burned Hotham on that 2-on-1 down that right side.
Wayne Babbage got clipped with a high stick, Gene. Brian Prop trying to harass him, got that stick up pretty high and clipped him across the face, and he went down pretty quickly. But Poulin and Prop almost had a good 2-on-1 situation. Well, they did have one, but the good play by Romano and the fine play out by the defenseman on that part, just staying in the middle, keeping that play off to the side. That was Dougie Bodger, their young 18-year-old defenseman. Romano had the shot, and of course with Poulin's speed, he got in a little bit too deep to get a good angle on that backhand rebound play.
Well, on that stoppage, Dave Brown has come out of the box, the only player left for Philadelphia. Rick Tocchet along with Troy Loney will now not come back for another 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
Babbage got clipped, as I mentioned, with that high stick by Brian Pop. And they blew the play dead. That's why the faceoff will come outside the zone.
Last 2 games at home for the Pittsburgh Pens have been tough. They beat the Islanders for 3 and a goal by Charlesworth in the 3rd period. Then they lost the other night to the Devils 3-2 on a goal in the 3rd period by Bichette. And here we are again, 2-2 as Flyers dig it out, ice it, and McCrimmon comes out of the box. And the Pens now 0 for 7 and 1 for 27 on the year against Philadelphia. There's an outlet trying to find Lemieux at center ice. Crosman picks it off through to Ron Sutter. He's bumped by Charlesworth, turning back. Young along with Lemieux and LaBarge. There's a play at the side of the net, trying to find Young breaking in on the near wing. Philadelphia breaks that up. Now there's a play through to Rich Sutter. He's got a man in front of the net, Craven, but a nice job by Mantha to tie up Philadelphia's Rich Sutter along with Ron Sutter, and they weren't able to get it in front. Young in that corner to the right of his goaltender, tied up by Ron Sutter. Mantha's in there along with Philadelphia's Rich Sutter. The four of them get a standoff with 14:06 remaining in the third period from Pittsburgh. Our game is tied at 2.
If your car knocks like a caged animal, feed it the higher octane in Texaco Super Unleaded. On steep grades, it gave already powerful turbo cars even more power. Nearly 12% faster acceleration than regular unleaded did. So if your car needs more octane, give it Texaco Super Unleaded. Superstar power for more car power. Easy, boy.
Behind the new Texaco Star, there's a new Texaco.
Back at Pittsburgh, Gene Hart with Bobby Taylor. Early third period game tied at 2. Flyers go prop pool, and here's the prop. Chips his shot, blocked. He's right in front with a backhander, and Romano directed that off to the far side. We're going to have a penalty against Bodger, I think, for knocking down Tim Kerr in front of the net. Flyers get the goalie out, but they cannot control the puck. There's the stoppage of play. It's going to be a hold against Bodger as he picks up
Bullard.
a second.
Mike Bullard,
for going to be
grabbing a hold of Tim Kerr.
It's 34 minutes on the air. The Penguins now have 12 of the game's 25 penalties, and the Flyers on their 5th power play.
Well, Tim Kerr going to the net as he usually does, and Bullard trying to keep him from getting there. Grabbed a hold of him and prevented him from getting for the rebound. Although Romano had cleared that rebound to the side, there was no danger of it. Bullard just kept going, pulled him down. He'll pick up the holding call at 6:07. Other action, Chicago has scored 3 unanswered goals. They've taken the lead over Toronto 3-2 in the second period.
There's a shot. Whoa! A play in front as it was blocked. Romano got that glove out to the short side, but the puck never got there. And Shabbat is able to cover the rebound down the ice. He's up front along with Kevin McCarthy, and they have Buskis back with Charlesworth. As
that
Bodger
shot hit Bodger, Gene, and I think he limped off the bench.
Now the Flyers mark Howe on the off wing into the right wing corner to Prop. Stops, loses the puck, he gives it away at the point. McCrimmon back along the near side to Prop, pumps it behind the net. Kerr is there. He's tied up by Buskis. It rolls to McCrimmon behind the net. There is Prop trying to find it in front. It was saved by Romano's stick check behind the net. There goes McCrimmon. It's tapped off the stick to the far corner. He rolls it back to the left point to Howe. Howe goes back to McCrimmon, top of the left circle, into the slot trying to find Poulin. But McCrimmon had the better shot, and it was broken up nicely by McCarthy and down the ice. The Flyers a minute 8 on the power play. They are 1 for 4 on the night. They are 3 for 16 on the year against Pittsburgh. Rink wide pass. There goes Poulin over the line to Zezel with a shot. That went wide. Flyers picking it up along the near boards. Sinisalo, top of the right circle. He's there. Side of the net, and Zezel tried to direct it short side. Pens take it off, roll it up to the near point. Erickson will keep it in. Flyers trying for control along their offensive right boards at the hash mark. Poulin trying to dig it out. Gets it to Erickson, who cannot. On the sweep of the puck, keep it in. It rolls off the stick to center ice, and with 37 seconds left, the Flyers will try again. Mitch Lemereau out there with Mark Taylor. Look out! There's a steal from Zezel as the Flyers run away where that puck was. There's a play in front. Lemereau's shot, and that hit Lindbergh, and he didn't know that the shot was coming until it bounced off perhaps the mask or his upper shoulder. 18 seconds left. And the Flyers, rather than getting momentum, are losing it to Pittsburgh. And that ignited the crowd, and that's what you don't want to get going on the road. There's an outlet by Charles, and the Pens clear at the center ice, and the Flyers are going to go naught on this power play as another pass from blue line to blue line by Erickson is blocked. The Flyers get at the center, but now the penalty is over. Bullard is out, and though the Flyers have scored the goal in this period, it is the Penguin fans now ignited. Here comes Philadelphia. Hackborn into the zone. Taken off and dumped on a good check by Hotham. As there goes Mark Taylor down that right wing, followed by Shabbat. Drops to Shabbat. Into the right corner. Centers, and right there with Bullard. Pulled down by Philadelphia after the shot was made. McCrimmon will go off, or Crosman. And the Pens will be on a power play at 8:29 of the third period. Our game tied at 2.
Give me some fun in the blazing sun. Give me a friend or two. Do it. And when my thirst is at its worst, do it.
picks up a tripping call on an excellent play by the Penguins as Bullard just missed deflecting it in. Crimmon pulled him down. He'll pick up a tripping minor. 8:29 the time. This is Pittsburgh's 8th power play.
Crimmon in there, second penalty of the night, and of the period he has 30 minutes on the air. The Flyers now 14 of the game's 26 penalties. Pittsburgh 0 for 7 on the night, and as we said, 1 for 26 on the year against Philadelphia. McCoy, there's a play by Lemieux, and he tried to go cross ice to Bullard. Flyers covered that, and Ron Sutter up on the left wing to center ice to Craven. Takes a bump from Shedden, who'll be the point man, but the puck goes behind the Pittsburgh net. Nice forechecking by Craven. Ties up Bullard in the near corner. Trying to work it out is Bodger. Flyers Craven to Ron Sutter. Sutter ragging the puck back, and he'll play it back to his defense to kill time. We're down to 11 minutes to play in the third period. Flyers and the Pens are tied at 2 thanks to Doug Crossman's goal in the first 2 minutes of this period. Minute 25 remaining on the McCrimmon penalty. Shedden back with Bodger at the point, and up front they have Shabbat with Lemieux on the left and Bullard on the right. Lemieux moves a right shot on the near side, tied up by Crosman, who's out there now with Marsh, and Philadelphia with Poulin and Propp. There goes Lemieux, cross to the far side to Shabbat. Down that left wing side to Bodger breaking in. A wraparound behind the Philadelphia net to the offensive right corner of Pittsburgh. Bullard is bumped by Marsh. Poulin is in there. Kicks free to Lemieux. Tries to pump it up to Bullard. Back to the point. Winding up Shedden. Looks. Goes into the right wing corner to Bullard. Bullard cross ice. Poor choice of pass is knocked down by Propp. Coming up through at center ice. He's and he almost had a 2-on-1 with Poulin, and it was broken up by Bodger. Back to Lemieux. They have a 3-on-2. Over the line, drops to Shabbat. Shot. Score!
John Shabbat on the power play. Bodger made a nice play to check Propp away from the puck. Getting the play up to Mario Lemieux. The drop pass to Shabbat. The slap shot, it went between the legs of Kelly Lindbergh. And the Penguins have scored their first power play goal of the name and has taken the lead 3-2 here. Shabbat getting the goal. And for Shabbat, that's goal number 5. Mario Lemieux will have 1 assist. At Doug Bodger, the second. It comes at 9:51.
And Lindbergh was upset because it went through the 5-hole. Between the pads.
Boy, what a play Doug Bodger made for the Penguins to get back, take the puck away from Propp, and shovel it up to Mario Lemieux.
Flyer zone, bounces off Lindbergh's stick. Oh, the Penguins tried and tried and tried and tried and went 17, 18 times against Philadelphia. Empty, and came up on that 18th opportunity with a power play. So now they're just 2, but that 2 is enough to give them the lead. And they started picking up the momentum, although Philadelphia had taken the play away, when Bullard went off. And they came on with a strong penalty-killing effort and put pressure on Philadelphia. And now the Flyers, again, are trailing. They've yet to lead in the game. They were down 2-0, tied it, and now the puck behind Lindbergh. Picked up right wing corner. There's Loney behind the net, tries to center, but McCrimmon breaks that up. Up on the far side, Derek Smith can't get it out. Mantha from the point. That shot went wide to the short side. And poked, but not out. It's kept in. Troy Loney, offensive left corner, in front. And breaking in on the far side was Kevin McCarthy. He's dumped, but the Pens now forechecking aggressively, keep it in. Lose it, and McCrimmon up through to Hackborn over the line, trailed by Howe. Shot right on. And it deflects to the near corner as Lenny Hackborn whittled that one in on Romano, was partially handcuffed. And the Pens shoot it to center ice. Philadelphia now with Zezel. Nice move over the line. A shot blocked as the Pens are doing that. But again, Charlesworth was hurt, getting up and hobbling to the bench. Pens have had a lot of hurts tonight, but they're smiling because they lead 3-2. And there's 8:45 remaining in the period as Marsh slapped but not out. Lemieux keeps it in, looking for the play on the left wing side. Has it in the corner to Busquets. Shot over the top of the net. Ricochets back to the left point. It's popped up in the air, up for grabs. Played into the near side. No control yet. Players digging it out. 2 Flyers, 2 Penguins along the near side. Lemieux battling for it. Now comes out of that corner from Zezel, but it rolls through and played by Craven to center ice. Zezel on the near side tries to dump through. Over the line, but offside is Philadelphia's Ilka Sinisalo with 8:17 remaining in the third period from Pittsburgh. 3-2 Penguins.
Present Presenting one of the most popular couples in America.
Presenting one of the most popular couples in America.
Cutlass Sierra.
And Cutlass Supreme from Oldsmobile.
These two models make Cutlass America's #1 nameplate.
Great styling, outstanding performance, the Cutlass Supreme.
And the front-wheel drive Cutlass Sierra.
Check out a couple of great deals on a couple of very popular cars.
Cutlass Sierra.
And Cutlass Supreme. See your Olds connection today for any Cutlass.
And check out a couple of great guys.
3-2 the score here at the arena. Pittsburgh in the lead. We have 8:17 remaining.
Rich and Ron Sutter with Tocchet on the right, and they have Dvorak back with Erickson. It is Bullard on with Risling and Taylor, defensively Bodger, who made that play that led to the lead goal, and Buskis. Pens control in their own zone. Cross-ice Bullard to Buskis, trying to get out. Mark Taylor is stopped, but the Flyers can't keep it in. The Pens break 2-on-1. Over the line, Bullard trying to get inside. Erickson does, and then he's turned and spun off the play. The Flyers give it away at the point, and Buskis cannot keep it in. And now he drives it in offside, but the Flyers bring it out to center, and Dvorak is tied up. They're up for grabs on the right wing at center, and it's lifted into the Penguin zone, but the Flyers do not pursue as they're tied up at center ice, and it's played near side by Bodger to Risling. Risling bounces it at the Flyer line. Dvorak controls. Back to Tocchet down that right wing side. The Pens on the change. Tocchet with a drive, and that hits Romano off the right shoulder. And I'll tell you, he does some histrionics that don't seem necessary, but are colorful. He did sort of a Chico Resch hop and then fell down.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He does not stop the puck in a conventional manner, but now Risling and Ronnie Sutter talking, but he is able to stop that puck quite often. Tocchet got all of that shot, and it got up very, very high very quickly, and he took the shot off the right shoulder. Now Risling got buried on a check along the Penguin players bench by Ronnie Sutter.
And Ron looks like he's aching a little bit.
And Risling had a few words to say, but Flyers out shooting Pittsburgh 30-24 in the game. They're down by 1, 3-2. We have 7:26 remaining. I think Romano got shaken up on that shot, Gene. It took it right off the shoulder.
Well, every game this year with Pittsburgh's been a humdinger. 1-1 here the first time in until Shedden scored with 28 seconds left, and then Manton an open net. Flyers winning twice in Philadelphia, but 4-2 and 3-1. Pens get the draw. Chabot, who has the lead goal right now, just his 5th. That's coming here. Fires at center ice. Prop loses it, and Loney, who's out along with Chabot, and Shedden shoot it in deep. Flyers have McCrimmon and Howe out there, and Kerr along with Prop and Poulin. Up on the left side, nice through to Poulin from Kerr, and Prop down that left side, but a good reach out by Mantha deflects it. Flyers keeping it in, and then Poulin cannot make the play against Mantha again, and Chabot, but Chabot ices it, and the Flyers are going to get a consolation prize with an offensive face-off with 6:50 remaining third period from Pittsburgh. Penguins 3 and the Flyers 2.
Come from here and take your infernal Merry Christmas with you.
Scrooge. I hate people. He's back with a haunting cast of holiday spirits.
Merry Christmas.
And some unexpected guests
Beware.
who offer a chilling look into what could be his own future.
You shall see a change in me, Jacob, I swear.
Albert Finney and Anna Guinness in Charles Dickens' classic Scrooge.
A Christmas classic, Scrooge, Sunday at 6 on TV 29.
Gene Hart along with Bobby Taylor at Pittsburgh. 6:50 remaining third period. It's 3-2 Pittsburgh. Zezel, Derek Smith, and Sinisalo out with Crosman and Marsh. Chabot on the line with Loney and Shedden for Pittsburgh. There's Crosman from the point. Well, I'll tell you, the Penguins have put up a good block in front of that Romano. A lot of those shots have not reached the net from the points. Buskis outletting at center, taken away by Derek Smith for Philadelphia, and he drives it back behind the Pittsburgh net. Bodger in there, works away from Zezel to Chabot, rolls it up, and it's cleared nicely by Kevin McCarthy to center ice. Flyers Crosman retreating away from Loney, off the far boards to the neutral zone. Kevin McCarthy bumped a couple of times by Derek Smith, and we get a standoff just at the Flyer line along their left wing with 6:22 remaining third period.
Kevin McCarthy, I talked to him before we went into the game tonight. I asked him if he was going to become another Red Kelly, a player who shifted back and forth from forward to defense. And McCarthy, normally a defenseman, he has been throughout much of his career, but has been shifted up on the wing, and especially in penalty-killing situations. But when they need a solid defensive forward up there, or player, I should say, McCarthy has been sent out by Bob Berry.
Tocchet, Rich, and Ron Sutter for Philadelphia. Marsh and Crosman. They're out there against Lemieux, Young, and Belanger. And defensively, oh, they almost had Ron Sutter through blue line to blue line. Nice play by Mantha to break that up. And as the Pens go in deep, hits the ledge in the corner to the right of Lindbergh and kicks over the glass. We'll have a neutral zone face-off. Bobby and I will be back at the Spectrum Sunday night at 7 on the Radio Network and Prism. Washington keeps then on to the 6-game road trip beginning next Wednesday night, the 26th of December, in Washington at 7:30 on the Radio Network and Channel 29.
Again, we should remind you there's tickets available for that game against the Washington Capitals. Well,
And
give them down, get a couple, and come on down and take a look at this club. It should be a great game.
no matter what happens tonight, that's a battle for first place in the Patrick division. Flyers at center ice now as the Pens trying to protect that 1-goal lead. They had a 2-goal lead one time and lost it, and came back 8 minutes after Crosman had tied it to take the lead on that short-handed situation for Philadelphia. Up ice. Long drive by Rich Sutter in on the net. Romano the save. They try to clear. They can't come this way, so Charlesworth wraps it around to the other side, and it works its way into the neutral zone. Break into the zone for Lemieux. Got a man in front. Looks for the trailer. There's another man, and the pass is blocked. And Lindbergh pokes it back to the point where it's kept in by Bodger coming off the Pittsburgh bench, putting it behind the Philadelphia net where Crosman, with 5:25 remaining third period, Flyers in the hole by 1. To Kerr, over the line. He has Tocchet down that right side. Fights for the puck. Looks to put it in front. Does. But Kerr was pushed off to the side of the net. And that positioning pass was right there. The Pens ice it. We get a stoppage of play with 5:10 remaining in the
Presenting one of the most popular couples in America.
Cutlass Sierra.
And Cutlass Supreme from Oldsmobile.
These two models make Cutlass America's #1 nameplate.
Great styling, outstanding performance, the Cutlass Supreme.
And the front-wheel drive Cutlass Sierra.
Check out a couple of great deals on a couple of very popular cars.
Cutlass Sierra.
And Cutlass Supreme. See your Olds connection today for any Cutlass.
And check out a couple of great buys.
3-2 the score here at the arena. Pittsburgh in the lead. We have 8:17 remaining.
Rich and Ron Sutter with Tocchet on the right, and they have Dvorak back with Erickson. It is Bullard on with Risling and Taylor, defensively Bodger, who made that play that led to the lead goal, and Buskis. Fens control in their own zone. Cross-ice Bullard to Buskis, trying to get out. Mark Taylor is stopped, but the Flyers can't keep it in. The Pens break 2-on-1. Over the line, Bullard trying to get inside. Erickson does, and then he's turned and spun off the play. The Flyers give it away at the point, and Buskis cannot keep it in. And now he drives it in offside, but the Flyers bring it out to center, and Dvorak is tied up. They're up for grabs on the right wing at center, and it's lifted into the Penguin zone, but the Flyers do not pursue as they're tied up at center ice, and it's played near side by Bodger to Risling. Risling bounces it at the Flyer line. Dvorak controls. Back to Tocchet down that right wing side. The Pens on the change. Tocchet with a drive, and that hits Romano off the right shoulder. And I'll tell you, he does some histrionics that don't seem necessary, but are colorful. He did sort of a Chico Resch hop and then fell down.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He does not stop the puck in the conventional manner, but now Risling and Ronnie Sutter talking, but he is able to stop that puck quite often. Tocchet got all of that shot, and it got up very, very high very quickly, and he took the shot off the right shoulder. Now Risling got buried on a check along the Penguin players bench by Ronnie Sutter.
And Ron looks like he's aching a little bit.
Brad Risling had a few words to say, but Flyers out shooting Pittsburgh 30-24 in the game. They're down by 1, 3-2. We have 7:26 remaining. I think Romano got shaken up on that shot, Gene. It took it right off the shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Well, every game this year with Pittsburgh's been a humdinger. 1-1 here. The first time in until Shedden scored with 28 seconds left, and then Manthan an open net. Flyers winning twice in Philadelphia, but 4-2 and 3-1. Then get the draw. Chabot, who has the lead goal right now, just his 5th. That's coming here. Fires at center ice. Prop loses it, and Loney, who's out along with Chabot, and Shedden shoot it in deep. Flyers have McCrimmon and Howe out there, and Kerr along with Prop and Poulin. Up on the left side, nice through to Poulin from Kerr, and Prop down that left side, but a good reach out by Mantha deflects it. Flyers keeping it in, and then Poulin cannot make the play against Mantha again, and Chabot, but Chabot ices it, and the Flyers are going to get a consolation prize with an offensive face-off with 6:50 remaining, third period from Pittsburgh. Penguins 3 and the Flyers 2.
Come from here and take your infernal Merry Christmas with you.
Scrooge. I hate people. He's back with a haunting cast of holiday spirits.
Merry Christmas.
And some unexpected guests who offer a chilling look into what could be his own future.
You shall see a change in me, Jacob, I swear.
Albert Finney and Alec Guinness in Charles Dickens' classic Scrooge.
A Christmas classic, Scrooge, Sunday at 6 on TV 29.
Gene Hart along with Bobby Taylor at Pittsburgh. 6:50 remaining, third period. It's 3-2 Pittsburgh. Zezel, Derek Smith, and Sinisalo out with Crosman and Marsh. Chabot on the line with Loney and Shedden for Pittsburgh. There's Crosman from the point. Well, I'll tell you, the Penguins have put up a good block in front of that Romano. A lot of those shots have not reached the net from the points. Busk is outletting at center, taken away by Derek Smith for Philadelphia, and he drives it back behind the Pittsburgh net. Bodger in there, works away from Zezel to Chabot, rolls it up, and it's cleared nicely by Kevin McCarthy to center ice. Flyers Crosman retreating away from Loney, off the far boards to the neutral zone. Kevin McCarthy bumped a couple of times by Derek Smith, and we get a standoff just at the Flyer line along their left wing with 6:22 remaining, third period.
Kevin McCarthy, I talked to him before we went into the game tonight. I asked him if he was going to become another Red Kelly, a player who shifted back and forth from forward to defense. And McCarthy, normally a defenseman, he has been throughout much of his career, but has been shifted up on the wing, and especially in penalty-killing situations. But when they need a solid defensive forward up there, or player, I should say, McCarthy has been sent out by Bob Berry.
Tocchet, Rich, and Ron Sutter for Philadelphia. Marsh and Crosman. They're out there against Lemieux, Young, and Belanger. And defensively, they almost had Ron Sutter through blue line to blue line. Nice play by Mantha to break that up. And as the Pens go in deep, hits the ledge in the corner to the right of Lindbergh and kicks over the glass. We'll have a neutral zone face-off. Bobby and I will be back at the Spectrum Sunday night at 7 on the Radio Network and Prism. Washington Caps, and then on to the 6-game road trip beginning next Wednesday night, the 26th of December, in Washington at 7:30 on the Radio Network and Channel 29.
Again, we should remind you there's tickets available for that game against the Washington Capitals. And give them down, get a couple, and come on down and take a look at this club. It should be a great game.
No matter what happens tonight, that's a battle for first place in the Patrick division. Flyers at center ice now as the Pens trying to protect that 1-goal lead. They had a 2-goal lead one time and lost it, and came back 8 minutes after Crosman had tied it to take the lead on that short-handed situation for Philadelphia. Up ice. Long drive by Rich Sutter in on the net. Romano the save. They try to clear. They can't come this way, so Charlesworth wraps it around to the other side, and it works its way into the neutral zone. Break into the zone for Lemieux. Got a man in front. Looks for the trailer. There's another man, and the pass is blocked. And Lindbergh pokes it back to the point where it's kept in by Bodger coming off the Pittsburgh bench, putting it behind the Philadelphia net where Crosman, with 5:25 remaining third period, Flyers in the hole by 1. To Kerr, over the line. He has Tocchet down that right side. Fights for the puck. Looks to put it in front. Does. But Kerr was pushed off to the side of the net. And that positioning pass was right there. The Pens ice it. We get a stoppage of play with 5:10 remaining in the third period for Pittsburgh. The Penguins up by a goal, 3-2.
Last time you changed planes in the Midwest, did it seem a bit like the Wild West? Well, next time, fly into an airport that feels like an airport and not like a stockyard. Fly Eastern to Kansas City. In Kansas City, you can stroll from one Eastern plane to another without being trampled and make connections to San Francisco, San Diego, Tucson, Phoenix, or 10 other Western cities. So fly Eastern through Kansas City and break away from the herd.
Offensive left circle for Philadelphia. They need a goal. They have Kerr out along with Sinisalo and Propp. They go with Dvorak and Eriksson. Bullard on, along with Taylor and Risling. Puck behind the net. That's Zezel in that corner. He falls on the puck. Busquets ties him up, and it's up to the discretion of Dave Newell where that face-off will be, and the Flyers will get another offensive left circle draw.
One final. The Islanders shut out the Hartford Whalers tonight 1-0. Kelly Rudy picking up the shutout for the Islanders, and the only goal scorer, Greg Gilbert, in the second period, his 7th of the year.
That's the last thing you'd expect in Hartford, wouldn't you? 1-0.
Exactly. Toronto is tied. Brubaker got his second goal of the year from Ricky Vive, and that game is tied in Chicago at 3 going into the third period.
Offensive left side, Kerr against Bullard. And the Flyers control it. Poulin a short side shot on a turnaround. Covered there as Kerr is knocked down. And boy, he's getting knocked down a lot tonight as the Pens try to work it out on their right wing side. Bullard now pivots inside. Throws it through at center, and it's tapped all the way down by Doug Bodger. In on Lindbergh. He steers off to his left. Dvorak lifts it high in the air, and it goes into the seats on the far side.
4-4-4 left in this third period as Rod Busquets and Doug Bodger have been picking up an awful lot of ice time for Coach Bob Berry here for the Penguins. They've been playing an awful lot out there. Bodger's just had an outstanding game defensively and also making that big play to set up Lemieux to Chabot for that power play goal, which has given the Penguins the 3-2 lead at this point.
Kelly Rudy's shutout tonight was the first for the Islanders this year, and the first of his NHL career.
Think he saved the puck?
Oh. It's Hartford? My heavens. All right, Lamoureux along with Loney and Kevin McCarthy in the Flyers counter with Craven, Hackborn, and Sinisalo. Howe up at center, dumps in. It comes out to Sinisalo. Chip shot wide to the long side. Good conceived play, and then Craven behind the net. And it comes to the near side to Hackborn. Looks. Oh, he tried to go back to the open point, and it was deflected away by McCarthy and into center ice. Flyers drive it back in, and we have an offside. Times are wasting. 4:24 remaining in the third period. Flyers tied it on a goal by Crosman at 1:44, and then Chabot at 9:51 on the power play. It's just the way the Penguins beat the Islanders. They scored a goal. Remember Todd Charlesworth midway in the third and hung on. And that's what they're trying to do now.
Flyers have outshot them 10-4 here in this third period, rather. Roberto Romano has been a very sound man in that net for the Penguins.
Zezel, Sinisalo, and Craven for Philadelphia, trying to sit on the puck at center ice. Unsuccessfully is Mitch Lamoureux. He's out there along with Loney, and there, boom, McCrimmon is knocked down, and there goes Mitch Lamoureux on a breakaway shot. And Lindbergh grabbed it, and I wonder why no penalty. And then Lamoureux chops McCrimmon on the top of the head as he skates back. But Dave Newell just looks on impassively.
Boy, I'll tell you, the Flyers bench just came right off their seat as Dave Newell's right at the bench there hoping for a penalty. But Mitch Lamoureux, who's been sound out there for them, the diminutive center, getting that shot, but the puck rolled on him, and he had the puck way out in front of him. Couldn't get much steam behind it, but he was trying to just chip it over Pelle Lindbergh to give the Penguins a 2-goal cushion. 4:09 remains this third period. Penguins up 3-2 over Philadelphia.
Flyers need offense. McCrimmon and Howe out. Make that Howe now and Erickson, along with Poulin, Propp, and Kerr. Bullard with Risling and Taylor. Bodger back with Buskus. And Wayne Bonney wants everybody legally out of the circle. It doesn't belong in it. As he moves away, Risling comes back in. Or Taylor, yeah, Risling. And then as Bonney skates away, they come back in. So he allowed the faceoff to go after, in the same situation, that he delayed it twice. Up ice comes Howe at the line, flips offensive right corner, comes out in front. Kerr pops it up in the air to the near side. Flyers trying to chop down and control, and then Bullard sits right up in the back of Propp as the Pens shoot it out of the rink, and the Flyers will get an offensive right circle. Bullard looked like he was playing leapfrog. What do you call that, piggyback?
Well, he has been a leading scorer for the Penguins over the last couple of years. The captain, he's struggled defensively, though. He has not got a very strong defensive record. In fact, he's -24. But I'll tell you, he's played a very sound game tonight. He's worked hard at the defensive end of the game tonight.
Risling going off. Troy Loney will take his place on with Bullard, Mark Taylor, Buskus, and Bodger. Flyers, Kerr, Poulin, Craven, Erickson, and Howe. Offensive right circle. Flyers battling for it. Bodger's knocked down behind the net, sweeps it to the far corner. Taylor's going to be in a battle with Howe. Cannot go out, and Howe tries to kick it behind, does to Kerr. Blind centering pass, pops over the net on a deflection, and cleared right back behind, but the Flyers are a step late. In there, trying to work it out in front. The Flyers do, but it's taken off by Bullard, who breaks out 2-on-2 with Taylor against Erickson and Howe. Bullard over the line into the near side and offside as he's trying to handle a rolling puck, and Taylor went in too soon. 3:29 remaining in regulation. The Flyers need a goal. Their road record is 6-5-2, but they've lost the last 3, and that was on that trip to Winnipeg, Toronto, and Atlee Island. They played sound defensively, a couple of mistakes, maybe on the Risling goal, but otherwise, Lindbergh has been victimized by a couple of opportunity plays. And Flyers need more than 2 right now. Tocchet lifts it in, as knocked down at center ice was Derek Smith, and the Pens clear along the near side to Lemieux. So Lemieux's first point against Philadelphia is on what appears to be the lead goal and maybe the winner if they can hang on. Puck at center ice. We're down to 3 minutes. Flyers unable to put on a sustained attack in the Pittsburgh zone. Digging it out. Crosman around the far side. Stopped by Warren Young. So it comes back into his own right wing corner to Brad Marsh. Up the middle. The pass broken down. Taken in flight and sent through to Poulin. Right wing into Tocchet. Tocchet waits for the shot. Loses it. Puts it cross ice. There was Derek Smith in front, but it hopped over his stick and was sent by Mantha up ice. Lemieux racing for it, but he's beaten to it by Brad Marsh. Rolled around behind the Philadelphia net to Crosman. Outlet far side, and the Flyers roll it to center, and it's cut off from Zezel by Mantha. But then Zezel breaks past Mantha. He's pulled down, and Dave Newell again is going to let the players win the game as the Pens ice it. And all the Flyers will get out of this is an offensive draw with 2:22 remaining in regulation. Shots in this period. Philadelphia with 10, a game total of 33. The Pens with 5, a game total of 25. And again, Zezel was pulled down by Mantha just as he penetrated the zone. But Dave Newell, who called, or has called 26 penalties through the first 50 minutes of the game, and in the second period called 19 has chosen to watch the game now and say, let him play it out. Troy Loney sees the 5-inch gash over the right eye. The second period, he came back. The Flyers go Zezel along with Sinisalo and Prop. They have McCrimmon back with Howe. They work into the left corner. Zezel around behind the net battling. He's pulled down this time by Bodger. And the Pens shoot it up into the seats near side, and the Flyers will get an offensive right circle face-off. We'll see again on Sunday night on the radio network in Prism at 7 o'clock against the Washington Caps. And regardless of what happens here tonight, as Dave Newell looks on, that's the battle for Patrick Division lead. And they'll come right back, those same two, next Wednesday at Washington at 7:30 on the radio network and Channel 29. Tickets available. Wouldn't want to miss Washington. Second trip in. They're a quality team with a lot of stars. Gardner and Langway and the two goaltenders and Scott Stevens and that pesky line of Duchesne, Gould, and Curry. Shabbat, who has the lead goal, working with Zezel, and the Penguins come out. Bodger up the middle. He's got Shedden on his right. Gives him the puck. Long shot. Score! Crane's goal. He shot from the boards, way off the Lindbergh's right, and Pelly ducked, and the puck went in the top side of the net. And that could be a clincher. And Doug Shedden, who scored the first time they played here in the last 32 seconds, drove it, and Lindbergh ducked, and it went in. He scored last time with 28 seconds left to win it, and may have scored now with 2:05 left for insurance. 14th goal. Pelly probably lost that one and instinctively ducked, and she went topside. Bodger, who has assists on the last two goals, and Shabbat. So Bodger and Shabbat have been the Flyer killers. 17:55. So the Flyers not needing one now, they need two, and they got to open it up. Behind the net, up along the near side. The Pens only won 7 games at home last year, and have already won 7 and looking for their 8th. They take it away and flip it in deep. And the Flyers take it off there. Crosman looking. Works up on the left side, and Lenny Hackborn coming through with Marsh and Kerr. Hackborn into the zone. Tries a shot, smothered in the near corner. Flyers are cut off from pursuit. The Penguins take it and shoot it into center ice. Now it clears back. It didn't actually come out as we're on the blind side, but then it did. And the linesman, Mark Pear, said that's an offside Philadelphia. Just a minute 29 remaining. And we might surmise on that shot from the right side, a rolling puck, she might have knuckleballed or done something, but an unusual play as Lindbergh ducked. Couldn't get the glove up in time, and she banged into the net. Penguins have only beaten the Flyers 25 times, lifetime. Looking for their second victory this year to even up the series at 2 apiece. Flyers will be back in here a couple more times. And the Pens, as the Flyers come in, get out. And Mitch Lamoureux rolls through looking for Loney. He's cut off by Sinisalo. Flyers working the near side, but it's not good enough. They need offense, and the Pens have cut him down with 2, thanks to the good goaltending. Roberto Romano when they've needed it, and the rare Penguin power play against Philadelphia, just their second of the year in 27, gave them the lead, and now with a minute left in regulation, pulling behind the net, tries to center. It's cleared to the near side. Sinisalo back to Erickson. Over on the far side, Howe looking, shot. That hit a man in front. Prop with a rebound, rolls it off the goal crease, and it's cleared, but not out. Erickson from the point. His shot hits a man and rolls to the blue line, kept in. Sinisalo toward the net, and nobody there except Mantha. Shoots it to the far side. The Pens try to clear out. Flyers keep it in. They have been able to get the goaltender out, and now with 30 seconds left, the Pens get it to center ice. They're all standing at the bench as the Flyers penetrate down the near side. The Prop puts it across ice. Nobody there. The Pens, Kevin McCarthy shoots to center, and my friends, Flyers look like they're going in the soup in this one as they cleared the far side, and the Pens have it at center ice, and this crowd of 12,700 and change are starting to rise in appreciation, and Pittsburgh hockey has come back to the Civic Arena with gusto. 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, and it's all over. And the final score, the Pittsburgh Penguins 4, the Philadelphia Flyers 2. We'll be back with one final comment after this.
This Bud's for everyone who keeps things rolling in the mighty Mississippi.
Breakaway barge, please.